Evening all. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome back to Beyond the Lane, episode 38. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to everyone watching at home. Please get involved with your comments throughout the night. Let's welcome in our guests. So we got a debutant on the show tonight. Ellie, how you doing? You've finally come on the channel, on the show. Thanks for coming on. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm boiling hot, but I'm making my debut, so I'm really pleased to be here, Dan, to join you lovely fellas. And I'm looking forward to the show.
Cheers for coming on. Stel, you're here, man. You made it. How you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, good. Weather's disgusting. Honestly, I don't know how anyone can breathe. It's mental, man. It's mental, but it's better than the rain, I guess. I prefer it to the rain.
Cheers for coming on, buddy. And Danny, mate, how are you?
Yeah, cheers for having us on, mate. I'm actually all right because I've gone up Blackpool for a couple of weeks doing a favour for a member of family, looking after the place and the pets and everything else. And it's only about 18 degrees up here and I can bloody breathe. Whereas the past 2 weeks down in South East London area, I get what Stel's just said, you can't bloody breathe. So I'm quite happy up here at the moment where it's actually nice and cool and I can bloody breathe.
My missus is up in Durham and she says it's freezing up there. She says she's got to have to wear a jacket. So I don't know what's going on. Very different up north.
I wouldn't quite say it's that bad here. I'd say it's about 18 degrees and feels about 13 degrees now due to where we're quite close to the seafront. But again, I can breathe. It feels like I haven't got a car sitting on my bloody chest. It's actually nice. Yeah. I don't like boiling hot weather in this country. Now take me over to Zante or something. When I went there, my mates, it was like nearly 50 degrees. Fine, I could breathe. It's just over here. You can't bloody breathe in this weather.
It's crazy. So hot, man. So hot. I think it's settling down tomorrow, right? I think the weather's dying down. Nige, mate, how are you doing, man? You good?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, had a few technical issues early doors, so I had to reset up downstairs. But yeah, all good. Sweating my butt off. Hate this weather as well. I'm a typical Brit. When it's too cold, I moan. When it's too hot, I moan. So roll on the autumn where I can put a hoodie on. You good?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I just had man, busy as usual. Kids working, putting them to bed, playing up, and I just went in the garden, had a nice Moretti, went down lovely. So yeah, I'm ready for the show. We'll have a good one tonight. Please, people, if you haven't subscribed, please do, to myself and Nige and all our wonderful guests. We'll put the links in the chat throughout the night. So, guys, thank you for joining us. We'll say a few hellos in a minute. So, look, Thomas Frank is in. No marquee signings yet. Daniel Levy wants to win the Premier League and the Champions League. With what plan? With what budget? Is this summer real change or is it just another recycled cycle? I see a lot of frustration amongst fans, anger, a lot of sarcasm, denial, continued joy over winning Europa League, arguments, fans of hope, disappointment. Look, it's only this club, eh? It could make you feel like that. What a range of feelings, emotions, or whatever. Guys, why aren't we happy? We just won a trophy after 17 years, guys. What's going on? Anyway, let's get into it. But look, the first question of the night is to the panel and the chat. Is how are you all feeling right now? And what are you actually looking forward to the new season? And what's the burning question in your head right now about Tottenham Hotspur? Anyone can go first.
If you want to go, I'm not excited about the next season like some people are. I mean, again, it's each their own, whatever turns you on at the end of the day. But I'm definitely intrigued by it. I'm interested in it again. But excited, no, too much. Now, we go and buy 3 quality players, which we're pretty sure we're not going to do. Then I could get excited. But I'm actually interested in the season again. I've actually got some feeling for the season again. I'm not dead towards the football like I was. Bloody Chinese cretin dogs. They're about that bloody big and loud. And I'm actually interested in the season again. I'm interested in how we're going to play, what we're going to do. I think we're going to see significantly better football than we did last season, which for me is a big thing. And yeah, I'm interested in next season, but excited, I wouldn't go that far.
Fair enough. So what's the burning question on your head, Dan, at the moment? What you're thinking about day to day? So you've been on streams, doing things yourself. What's on your mind?
Do you know what? It's not, for me at this moment in time, it's not even who we buy. Because we're all going on about, a lot of us going on about, right, we need a player in this position, that position, this way, that way, someone who plays this way and that way. Yeah, we do. If we're playing Angie's way, or if we're playing with a certain formation like a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. But I think we all know that Frank has got the capability of using different formations and different styles. Until I think I'm most interested in at the moment is how are we going to play? What formation are we going to use? What style are we going to do? Because then it will start in the aspect of where we need the players. Because everyone keeps saying, me being one of them, at this moment in time, the style we play, it needs a DM. And if the person ain't going to sit in the 6 mode, in the DM mode, then he needs to be more of a box-to-box defender sort of thing, like we tried doing with Basuma, but Basuma is not a defender, come love nor money. That's why 90% of his mess-ups was in a defensive manner. So if we're playing 3 at the back, we don't even need a DM as far as I'm concerned. But again, other people might see it different. So until we actually know what style of football we're actually going to be using, I don't think there's any of us that can say for a fact where we need the position the most. If I'm going to say we need a position the most, it is a centre mid. But what style of centre mid is going to depend on our style of playing formation.
It's hard to know, isn't it, really? We don't know if he's going to start with a back 4, back 3. We have no idea, but he's going to do both, I hope, the flexibility we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I agree, Dan. I think we need that midfielder, mate. I do. I think we need somebody in there, defensive midfielder, or somebody who can, a bit of experience, you hope. Someone who can dictate the play, spread the play, and hopefully it will improve the other midfielders that we currently got. But look, we'll wait and see what happens in this transfer window. But no, thanks, Dan. Anybody else want to come in and tell how they're feeling about Spurs right now and what's on your mind?
Yeah, I don't mind coming in. I'm sort of in limbo because we don't know what to expect, right? Because first of all, the transfer market at the moment is frustrating me because we're linked with so many players, but we haven't got anybody through the door apart from Tell and re-signing Davies. So it doesn't excite me as much, and I just feel I feel very disappointed actually because I was Ange outright, but I'm thinking, right, he didn't get much help in terms of first teamers. He got Maddison, he got Solanke, he's meh, to say the least. And then he got Johnson and he made him into a poacher of a player. But really, he didn't get a lot of help. He had a lot of youngsters come in, and the £400 million really didn't really help him so much. So I was in limbo about Ange as well, because I see a lot of people saying it was unfair to sack him because he won us a trophy, and we've never finished top 6 or got a trophy in the same season under this leadership, if you can call it a leadership. So they've always let managers down, and we always take it out on managers. So now I've seen Frank, he hasn't won anything, but that doesn't mean he can't win something. I'm excited in a way because I know that he's a very good communicator. He's good with players. He's a good man manager, and I think he can bring out a lot of the youngsters and make them a little bit better. But I'm still apprehensive because without these signings, if we don't make 3 or 4 really, really good signings and then get some more on top of that, like I want to see really 3 or 4 solid signings come in to make us a better unit. Because first of all, we haven't got any wingers who can take anybody on. So we need 2 new wingers. If we get Mohamed Kudus, that's a start. I hope we can get him over the line. But we need another winger. We need I'm sort of not against you, Dan, but I think we do need a central defensive midfielder, and the reason why all the best clubs who've won anything down in history always have that solid man who covers the ground, who's a leader. Yeah, you need that in a team. Somebody who's going to put their foot in, going to get stuck in. You know.
No, I agree.
You
Sometimes it's a box to box, solid, more solid on the defence. Sometimes it's an out and out DM. You need that man who can run that system, don't you?
Yeah, and somebody who's leader as well. Somebody who can, because if we're going to play this rotation, we're going to have a lot of youngsters playing as well. Because he will blood the youngsters in the League Cup and the FA Cups. And when it comes to the Champions League, you want to play your best 11. And that best 11 needs a CDM because these Champions League teams, you can't take them lightly. They're fantastic. Every single team is on merit because they finish top 4, top 5. Right, we're there because we won the Europa League with a fractured squad, right? So we need a lot of help, and I'm more apprehensive than excited.
Fair enough. So Ellie, it's like about the transfers, isn't it? Worrying who we're going to bring in, if we're going to bring anyone decent. Yeah, look, I think a lot of fans are feeling that way. Yeah, good points. Very good points. And Stel, what about you, man? I bet you're really excited for the new season, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. New start, project number 18. We're all going to jump on it again. And in 2 years' time, we'll be talking about whoever the next manager is, you know? Bring it on. So, I'm not really fussed, guys. I'm not fussed. If he does well, he does well. If he doesn't, we're going to manager 19 and fans will accept it and they'll tolerate another project, you know. I just feel the whole thing is a lie now. I've always said Levy's a liar. It's a con. This now is hands down the biggest rug pull ever. This is the ultimate pulling your pants down. And the fans have actually bent over and said, yeah, go on. Lube me up, baby. Lube me up. I can't believe what we're doing right now. I find it astonishing. I hope to be proven wrong with egg on my face, but I don't think I will be. You know, we had Poch, didn't want to back him, sacked him. Okay, so we just jump on Mourinho because Mourinho's a winner. Cool. Gets to a final. We sack him. We brought in a winner to win, and when he has a chance to win, we sack him. Fans, yeah, cool. Okay. Nuno comes in. Confused the fans, I think. He lasted 10 minutes. Okay, cool. But Conte's here now, so yeah, we'll accept another project. That's fine. It's okay that you sat Nuno and Poch and Mourinho before a final. Conte comes here, gets top 4 with an average squad. He's off. He's had enough already. Bye-bye. In comes Ange. And I remember when Ange came, all we want is entertaining football. Ange always wins in his second season. Ange is the man. Ange can play football the right way. Everyone jumped on it. And I sat there, banging my head against a brick wall saying, why the fuck have we turned against Conte? I was the only channel. Tottenham away was the only channel banging the drum to defend Tottenham, Antonio Conte. All right, Conte's gone. We don't like him. In comes Ange. 2 years into the project, get him out. We're done. See you later. But hold on. It's another project then that you've been lied to, that we've been lied to. Another project that doesn't make sense. And now Frank's here. He can coach. So Poch did a great job at Southampton. Mourinho's a winner. Conte's a serial winner. Ange plays football the right way, but Frank can coach because Conte can't coach. He doesn't know how to coach, does he? Conte. He just wins league titles everywhere he goes, but here. But he can't coach. Frank can coach, and we're basically surrendering another 2 years of our Spurs fan lives to a chairman that's pulled everyone's pants down, project after project. And when I went to the academy, when was it? It was about 6 months into Ange's reign. The academy director said to me that he's been given assurances from above that the next manager that comes in after Ange, because Ange eventually will move on, he will be of the similar mould. So that all the work they've done in the academy under Simon Davies doesn't go to waste. And that system, that philosophy can then filter into the next manager. So we should be signing someone like a De Zerbi, a Nagelsmann, someone of that play out from the back, possession base, high press. All right, cool. Well, Frank isn't that, guys. Frank doesn't have a philosophy. Frank just goes with whatever works on the day to beat the opposition. Nothing wrong with that. But the academy director was lied to. And now those kids that have been playing a specific system, a specific way, that's not how Frank's going to do it. So for me, the academy was a lie. Another project is a lie. I hope Frank does well. I hope he wins trophies because that's all I really care about, guys. I don't care about top six. If you like top six, bring back Martin Joe and AVB. Right, just bring them back because they got sacked for only getting top six. Do I think Frank's going to win a trophy? I don't know, is the honest answer. But if I was to put money on it, I'd probably say no because he's never done it in his life. Ellie's right. Just because he hasn't doesn't mean he won't. If you want to win trophies, bring in someone that knows how to do it. Why are we the guinea pig? Why are we the experiment again? So I look at it with a lot of... it's hard to believe in something, guys, when you're just seeing the same cycle repeat itself for the 18th time. And I look at the signings the club's made already, and it's just, fuck my life. Really? We're going to win the Champions League. We're going to win the league with Ben Davies, random Japanese bloke, random 16-year-old bloke. This is. Do you think Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool look at us and think, fuck, we're shitting it? They're laughing their heads off, guys. They're signing Cherkis, Zubamendis, Wirtz. They're signing they're signing ballers, and we're signing a guy that should have left 5 years ago. I think Ben Davies is testimonial, isn't it? I'm sure there's a testimonial coming up.
Yep.
I think this is his 11th season, isn't it?
Tell 35 million on a player that's proven nothing. But we've got to accept it because he's got potential and Frank can coach. We just have to accept it. Then you've got players like... Look, the Japanese kid, I don't know. But I don't know why we signed another centre-back when you got 7 already. What was the point of Ashley Phillips then? Dragusin, why did we spend 30 million on him? What are we, it makes no sense. And then this 16-year-old kid, he ain't going to get a look in. He hasn't got a chance in hell of playing a striker at this club. Never. Not under Frank's watch. So I sum it all up, guys, and whatever happens, happens. But I don't. It's very difficult to buy into this for so many reasons that I've just laid out. And anyone that thinks that our academy players are going to get a chance, forget it. Forget it. They're not. By signing these players, you are blocking the pathway of our academy kids. So I don't know what to make of it. I think Frank's a good coach. I think he's another good bloke. But I think whether it's 9 months' time, 18 months' time, he's going to find out very, very quickly how it works at this football club and what he thinks he wants to do and what is actually going to happen are two different things. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years' time we're sitting here going, do you know what? Frank doesn't quite cut it, He's not... he can't get it over the line. We need someone that can get it over the line. And then the next guy will come in and we'll say he can get it over the line. That'll be the next phrase that we jump on. So, look, it is what it is, guys. Whatever we do, we do. But if we don't win trophies, I don't see the point of it. I don't see any point if we're not winning trophies. Fuck top 6, fuck top 4. Bullshit to it. We had 20 years of that. Win trophies, get to finals, or shut down the club. Because Tottenham Hotspur, the slogan is, the game is about glory. And the word glory came off the back of the days of Arthur Rowe and Bill Nick when we lifted trophies, not when we finished top 4. A lot of fans will disagree with that. They'll say, no, it's all about the money, the financials, top 6. Some fans will say they want all of it. Well, you can't have all of it because Levy has never delivered all of it and he never will. And you can see by the signings, he's not going to deliver all of it. So unless I see a massive change in the transfer policy, guys. Frank is on a hiding to nothing eventually. and so will the next guy, and so will the next guy, and so will the next guy, because we're just not going to sign the players that Arsenal, City, and Liverpool are to compete at that high level. And that's what it's going to take. We need to start signing proper players, not we've pulled out of Eze. Yeah, we'll just let Mbeumo walk to Man United. We won't even outbid them. We just accept it. So that's where I'm at with it, Dan. Sorry to put a bit of a pessimistic spin on it, but
no, it's fine. I get it.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, you said a lot there, and yeah, I'm sure we'll pick up some of the stuff you said throughout the show. Yeah, we'll definitely will. Let's go to Nige and see if he's a little bit more happier. Looking forward to next season.
It's tough, isn't it? I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it at the moment. I find it so difficult because it's so hard to disagree with so much of what Stel says. But I think Spurs have always struggled to sign in kind of top players as it is, really top players. We've never really been in for top players. Klinsmann probably the last one. But I just think finishing 17th has made it even more difficult for us now. So this, for me, is why I want us to finish higher in leagues. Not necessarily because I want to be in the Champions League every year. To be honest, I couldn't care about the Champions League this year. I'd be quite happy to finish 6th or 7th, go back into Europa and try and win that. Because I think that's kind of our level.
Nige, sorry, I have to interrupt on this. Who did we sign that was quality when we finished top 6 and top 4?
That's right. Didn't.
That's what I mean.
So you say
we've always struggled to finish. Yeah,
That's
but
my point.
we're struggling. We might even struggle to sign those type of players now. The type of players we signed when we did finish 6th or 7th. We're all we don't know who we're being linked with, but it feels like the players we're being linked with at the moment are going everywhere else apart from Tottenham. Now, whether we're putting bids in for them, I don't know, but it just feels like maybe finishing lower has made it more difficult for us.
Not Nige. We finished 5th last season. Who did we sign?
Solanke, quality. No.
Yeah.
No, I get your point. I get your point.
Well, yeah, but you see, that point kind of pushes back on your point, though, doesn't it? You're trying to say that, oh, look what 17's done to us. We have never, ever, when we finished 5th with whoever the manager is, or 4th or 6th, ever brought in the caliber of players. Never. The only common denominator in each of those scenarios is the chairman and the board. Whether it's Conte, whether it's Jose, Poch, Nuno, AVB, Redknapp, Ange, it doesn't matter where we finish in the league. There's no evidence to prove what you've just said.
In the long run. Go on, Nige, sorry. Okay.
I was just going to say, no, there absolutely isn't. You're absolutely right. But at the same time, it's just how I feel. I feel that finishing 17th will make it more difficult for Spurs to go for it. Because we're shopping at a lower level. If we're finishing 5th, 6th, 4th, we could realistically go for the players and they'd be like, actually, they're challenging every year. If you're going to a player now and you're going, come to Spurs. Hang on, where did you finish last year? 17th. Yeah, actually, maybe I'll go for.
But there's no evidence to back that up. There's no evidence to back up what you're saying. None. Conte finished 4th twice. We couldn't attract them. Pochettino finished 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 5 years in a row.
So if we finish 3rd or 4th and can't attract,
who did we attract? We signed NG, Nkudu, Aurier, that washed out Spanish striker. What was his name?
Estelle, I'll make you right here, yeah? When we finished 4th and 3rd, we just didn't seem to attract them. Was it because we didn't go for them? Whatever, but I'll make you right. But now that this manager has dragged us down to the point that we was only not relegated because the 3 teams were probably the 3 of the 5 worst teams the Premier League has ever seen, people ain't going to want to come to us even more, basically.
You can offer them Champions League football now. You can offer them Champions League football.
The fact that we can offer a bit of Champions League football, gets us that little bit. But the fact that we finished 17th holds us back as well. So it's a sort of catch-22 situation.
Man United finished 16th. They've signed Cunha and Mbeumo. That completely blows your argument out of water.
No, it doesn't. There's a big difference.
It does, because you're talking about league position.
Man, you are the biggest team in the world.
And they pay the biggest wages. Man United finished 1 place above us and lost the cup final to us, and they're not in Europe, and they're attracting better players.
Right. And who looks like they've got more of a chance? Who would you look at when you look at both of them? before any players transferred, whatever,
I don't know. We've got Frank
on
now.
who can actually
coach.
get up. Now, I said to everyone at the start on the Europa Cup to us was so important because it was the only thing that could make us attract anything or get any money. Man U didn't need that cup. Yeah, they'd have liked it, but to Man U, it is not as relevant as it is to us. Manchester United, at the end of the day, no matter how poor they've been by their standards for the past, let's say, 8 years, 9 years, still managed to squeeze a couple of cups in the middle, are still the biggest club in the world. Maybe you can argue with Real Madrid. So they've still got that pulling power of being Manchester United. Give it another 3 or 4
So it's nothing to do with league positioning, Dan. It's got nothing to do with league position.
They will come down. But with them, that's what saves them. But they've still got that thing that saves them. Whereas with us, we are only Tottenham Hotspur and we just finished 17th. And a lot of people...
Man United are the laughing stock of English football for the last 4 or 5 years.
At the moment, they are, but they are still...
The reason people go there, Dan, is because they pay the wages, Dan. They pay the wages.
That as well.
That is the biggest factor. Why would you go Man United right now?
But
for
the
what
fact
reason
that they
would
are
you go
Man
to
United still attracts people. The fact that they are Man U still attracts more than the fact that
if Man United said to Mbeumo, we're only going to give you 80 grand a week, do you think he's going there? I don't.
Okay, then let's put it on a different side then, yeah? Forget Champions League, forget everything else, yeah? Forget everything. Right, put Man U, Spurs next to each other, finish 16th, 17th. No cups in it, no nothing and that, yeah? Offer the same wages, 9 times out of 10, where's a player going to go? Quite possibly to the biggest club in the world.
If the trajectory of the clubs is identical, probably Man United.
And people also
that's
know
not the case.
Man U want to get better. Case. They know what our owner is like. That's the other thing that holds it back as well.
Right, so it's the owner. So it's the owner, Dan. So it's the owner.
The owner's got a big part of it as well. The owner has got.
So can we stop this 17th place? So you see, you hit the nail on the head. It's the owner. But you just said it's the owner.
Is the
main so it's not 17th, it's many things.
But when you've got a problem, you can have loads of other little problems in it as well. Sadly, if there was only one
this is what I'm asking you, Dan. So it's not 7.
Levy is the main issue here, yeah. But the fact that we finished 17th has done us damage.
There you go.
There you go. I'm not debating
it hasn't done us damage because we're in the Champions League. We're in the Champions League.
But he's not the only problem. So you don't think us finishing 17th has put any player off that we would go for in any means or manner?
Not with Champions League football, a change of manager that says that this guy's going to be better, and the fact that we are now a trophy-winning club. No, I think we're actually slightly better.
Okay. That's your opinion. My opinion is that 17th also held us back, but Champions League is the only chance we've got of getting anybody.
Yeah, but we go Man United, Dan, finished one place above us. But Man United finished one place above us. They haven't won a trophy. They're not in Europe, and they're attracting top players because the wages drives it. So we are where Man United are, but with a trophy and Champions League. The wages, Dan. It's the wages.
And the wages is a massive part of things. We know that as well, yeah? Again, there's another problem, yeah? We all know that there's more than one fucking problem at Spurs, without a doubt, and a lot of other clubs. But the fact is, Man U have been at their very worst, and in the past 10 years, how many trophies have they won?
Okay, we were at our worst. We were at our worst. We finished 17th and won a trophy. So we've done it too.
Where Man U over the past 10 years have been doing it still a bit more consistent. Us out of nowhere have got that cup, and that Champions League hopefully will help us get players. But I still personally believe that 17th will also hold players back until they see.
When Ange finished 5th, we didn't sign any quality players. When Conte finished 4th, we didn't sign quality players. There is no evidence to support league position.
But in Ange's first season, he got between 3 and 6 first-team players. So what we need.
No, we're talking about quality of players, Dan. No, we're talking about quality of players.
We're not going to get quality world-class players. We don't do that shit. We just don't pay the wages. We don't pay the money for it. But as long as you get at least 3 players that walk into that first team, surely it's a step forward. Maybe not to the extent we want, but surely it is a step forward.
But guys, we're not saying world-class players. We don't expect Zubimendi to come to Tottenham. I don't expect Mbappe to come to Tottenham. We've had these discussions before. No. There is no reason why we can't sign Eze or Mitoma or Mbeumo or Wisa or Jared Bowen. There's no reason why Spurs can't go in and say 70 mil, 145 grand a week, you're ours. We just don't do that. This board doesn't want to do it. If we went to West Ham and said Jared Bowen,
players who walk into that first team, have we or not made some sort of progress? Like Ange got, he got backed in his first season. Second season, no, he didn't. I'll agree with that. Yeah, but first season, he got between 3 and 6 players that.
Ange never got backed. We signed 3 players before he joined. Dan.
Okay, then he got 3 players that walked into the first team: Madders, Vicario, Van der Ven.
Vicario was signed by Paratici. Madison, okay, you could say maybe it was his player.
Madison for Ange as well.
Okay, all right, but the argument isn't whether Ange was backed or not. The argument here is, does league position determine whether or not we can attract top players? And the reality is, it doesn't matter where Spurs finish unless the board are prepared to change their behaviour in the transfer window. This is like Nigel raised the argument, and I'm just pushing back saying, show me a period in time when we have actually signed good players. When we were under Pochettino, we were a top team. The whole of England, Europe, everyone was talking about us. What a team. We still didn't do it. We still didn't do it, guys. We went and signed NG, Nkudu, the Spanish guy.
I've never done it.
So many bad decisions
right.
by our club. Flipping hell.
Right, we have never done it.
We've never done it.
So why is anyone expecting us to do it now?
But this was my only concern of saying, and
I'm not.
Was because
that's why I don't get on board with this project.
We're never batting with the top 6 anyway. We're never going to come up against United, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal. You know, we go in for players and they're going, we're going to lose. My concern is if we're finishing 15th, 16th, 17th every season, then teams like Villa, teams like Newcastle, they suddenly get the top picks of the players that the Liverpools aren't getting. And then we're fighting for what's left. And I accept that we've never really done it, but it would be nice to do it at some point. You know, Levy has said he wants to win the Premier League.
Nigel, look at Newcastle, right? Newcastle are not bigger than Spurs. Newcastle are not a bigger club than Tottenham, yet under their new owners, they signed Guimaraes. They signed Tonali. These were established players. We knew about these players. Why can't Spurs get those players? But we don't even give it a go, guys. We don't give it a realistic go. All you hear is interested in, talking to, monitoring, observing, tickling, cuddling, kissing, touching. Sign, man. Sign the talent. You know.
Still, I think we all know that as Spurs fans, that Spurs have got no ambition. We all know that. So what's the argument here?
Exactly. I mean, you can say. I mean,
the argument
you basically said, mate. I can turn around to you, agree with everything, and say no shit, Sherlock.
But you didn't. You tried to say that 17th is the problem.
No, I said 17th is part of the problem. I said Levy is the main problem.
It's got nothing to do with that, because when we do finish top 6, we don't do it. It's fact. There is no evidence to back up that league position has ever impacted us signing players. Because when we have finished in the top 6 or the top 4, even when we came second, we still didn't do it, guys. That's my argument. That's the point I'm making, Dan. When people say, 7 teams hurt us, it hasn't. Because when we were top of the table or second or third, we didn't do it. It don't matter.
Yeah, and also, why sack a manager when he's just won something? Isn't that an indication that he can get us over the line? And all right, the football was bad, right? But it was good as
You're being nice there, Ellie. You're being nice.
Listen,
be honest.
There's a balance here, right?
Yeah, the balance was it was shit.
Everybody was raving about Ange.
No, they weren't.
Oh my God, he's won 8 games, drawn 2, and then
I wasn't.
to Chelsea after going down to 9 men. And then it goes a bit pear-shaped, then it picks up again. Then it goes pear-shaped, then it picks. It was all up and down that first season. He didn't have Europe. He picked up a team that was 8th. He finished 5th in the end. He got us Europe, and then he won the trophy. What manager has done that? The only other one who's done it is Ramos. Nobody else has done it.
Where did Ramos finish? 8th?
I think he finished
something
8th,
like that, yeah.
I think the thing that has damaged so many things here for a lot of people, again, this is the love of football. We all see it out of two different eyes, basically. I guarantee we all sit here and watch a game of football. I will spot things in that game that none of you see. But then still we'll see things that we don't see. So will Nige, so will Dan, so will Ellie. That is half the fun of football.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, you can say it is opinionated. There is a lot of facts in it as well, but there's a lot of opinion in it as well. Some people think certain things are more important. Some think other things are important for other people. That's just life. I mean, whatever turns you on at the end of the day doesn't mean it's going to turn me on. So that is where we're different people and why humans are unique in that aspect. And it's the same when it comes to football at the end of the day. The fact that the manager was that shit in the league is what done him. If he would have finished 8th or 10th, he'd have kept his job, and I think a high majority of Spurs supporters, me being one of them, would have said, all right, let's see how it goes next season. The fact that the only reason we did not get relegated is that 3 of the teams were probably 3 of the top 5 worst teams ever in the Premier League and saved our arse. The other point I make with it quick as well, I'm willing to lay money on it, but it is again an opinion. If he would have won the League Cup and we wouldn't have got Champions League, I bet you half the people that would have said, oh yeah, but he deserves another 10 games, wouldn't have said it. But that's an opinion.
But he did win. But he won the Europa and he did get Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, let me have my say on this, because I think two things can be right here. Obviously, we don't know really what the truth is. You know, you hear that Spurs have been trying to get players, and Bremo linked didn't happen. Eze linked didn't happen. We're trying to get these players. Yeah, yes, the wages is probably the biggest thing. Yeah, holding it back. But I think players look at coming to Tottenham, you know, especially this season we've had, finishing 17th, a mess. You know, it's going to put players off coming to Spurs. Like, we're not a team that wins regularly, Europa League or no Europa League, right? So I think the main issue is obviously the wages. But I think being 17th in the league is going to put players off. I think it's a bit of both still, or, you know, what do you reckon, no?
It works both ways, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't for me, because when we finished top 4, Dan, we still didn't do it. For me, it's
We're talking about now.
But that's not what Dan's saying.
Okay. Right now, Man United are 16th, and they're attracting top players. They're 16th
because they're Man United. Because they're Man United.
There's always an excuse, but the fact
that's
is,
not an excuse,
league position.
It's a fact.
So it's not league position. No, it is an excuse because they are not good in the league.
No, it's not.
And you're talking about league. You're changing the argument to try and squeeze a narrative to defend the 17th as an
I'm
argument.
putting other facts down as well. The fact that Man U are Man U is a big point of it, and they
Man United. Your argument is about league position. So when I mention another club in the bag in another league position, but that's Man United, guys. We're Tottenham Hotspur. We have the money.
Yeah.
We have the clout. We have the business structure. We have the fan base. You saw it when we won that trophy. Spurs is a bigger club than even our own fan base give it credit for. This is a big football club. We're not Liverpool. We're not United. We're not Bayern Munich. I get that. But the next tier below, we're there. There is no reason why we can't bring in quality players. One season finishing 17th doesn't change the dynamics of a whole club. This club's used to finishing top 4, 6. We're used to that.
Yeah.
You don't just dismiss all of that history, because if that's the case, then don't talk about Man United's history. Okay, we had one bad season.
A lot of players who will look at it as just the one season. A lot of players will look at that. You might not, but a lot of others will.
Not if you give them the money, which is why Cunha and Mbeumo are going to Man United. The simple fact is this.
I've always been one that said if we paid the bloody money, we could get better players than what we do. We still ain't getting world-class players.
So then you're agreeing with me. It's not about league position. We're agreeing. We're agreeing. It's not about league position.
I'm saying there's more than one thing to it.
One bad season doesn't kill a club like that. Look at Man United. They've had a bad season. It hasn't killed them. They're still signing players. It doesn't work like that. If we finish bottom 10 every year, because they usually finish top 10 like we do. If we finish bottom 10 every year, I'd say you've got a really solid argument. If we finish bottom 10 every year, I'd say you lot have got a solid argument. But we don't. We never finish bottom 10. This is the first time in a long time. But it's also the first time we won a trophy. So, look, if you don't want to go with this belief that you think 17th is why we can't sign top players, guys, cool. You go with it.
I'm not the only reason. It's not the only reason,
man. I'm not saying that.
Okay, if you think it's a factor, all right, if you think it's a factor, go with it. For me, my side of the argument, I don't buy it for 1 second. It's a convenient excuse that we are going to use to defend this board not doing the right thing. We give them every excuse to get away with it, and they're going to get away with it again, and we're going to blame Ange for it. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
That's where I'm at with it. I think it's wild how this board just finds these little excuses that we as fans say, go on, then it's because we finished 17th. We can't sign Eze because we finished 17th. We can't sign Mitoma because we finished 17th. You're letting Levy walk all over us. That's how I see it. That's how I see it.
Will have some, fair enough, but I'm just saying it will have some effect. Because the problem is at Spurs, it is one major problem. But like a lot of things in life, if only it was just one problem. A lot of things in life, you've got to sit there and you've got to write a fucking book to get your problems out, because there's major problems and then there's also the other problems that add up. And with Spurs, it isn't just one problem. The major problem, most of us know it. There's others who like to defend Levy in every which way and say he's not the problem, this and that. But he is the main problem. The owners are the main problem, Lewis and Levy. But there are other problems with us as well.
Right, guys, let's get going with this, because the question, we kind of already started talking about it. So let's just get it out there anyway, because it's while we're kind of talking about the subject about ambition and what this club can achieve. Now, can this club realistically challenge for the Premier League or Champions League under this current board? Obviously, Poch, he challenged, he come close, he got into the Champions League final, right? So we have seen it under Levy. Right, so can we do it under Frank? And if you can't do it under Frank, why not? And let's hear from Nige and Ellie, and then we'll go to Dan and Still.
Simply, the only way we're going to have any chance of doing it is if Levy backs the manager, which he's never done. Go on, Ellie.
I think Ellie's a bit behind.
He's got to give him. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
You can hear me, good. Yeah, I just feel he's never going to do it because he's had 24 seasons. So 24 seasons of evidence that he doesn't do it. So why would he change now?
Do you agree we challenged under Poch though, Ellie? Under Poch, we did have a title, at least one title.
He didn't change anything, did he? He didn't bring in quality players.
Yeah, okay. So you don't believe it?
I don't believe him. He's a liar. I just feel he lies all the time. And when he comes out with Vinay, like auditioning for Love Island, them two, right? It's just ridiculous that you're saying you want to win the league and you want to win the Champions League when you don't back it up. Back it up then. Bring players that are going to win us it or give us a fighting chance to go a little bit closer. Look, Arsenal did it. They got semi-final. We were all laughing at them, but they came up against the magical PSG team that blew them out the water. So we're going to face this. So we don't need your Tells and your Johnsons and your Solankis up front. That's not a fighting chance. So put your money where your mouth is. Start paying the wages so that you can attract the players in. And otherwise, we're just going to be back to square one, like Stel says, in 2 years' time, talking about the next manager.
Ellie, can Frank do what Pochettino did?
Yes, he can. If he's given the right amount of players to help him. But Poch was a fantastic coach as well. Because everybody's jumping on this thing that Frank's a fantastic coach. He might well be, but he needs help. Every coach needs help. You need quality players to come in. That's why the wages are very important to attract them in. We've got Champions League football. What more does a player need? Right? You're offering him Champions League football, but then you're not offering him the wages to attract him in. And he's going to Manchester United, who haven't even got Champions League football. So
what quality players did Poch get?
Ownership.
What quality players, out and out quality players, did Poch actually get?
Wanyama?
No.
He got Dembele.
No. I think you've just missed the question. I said, what quality players did Poch get bought? There and then, quality players.
Victor Wanyama.
He wasn't quality at the time. He improved when.
Victor Wanyama was an absolute animal in the six. Are you mad? He was a quality player.
Do you think Poch improved him?
Poch improved a lot of our players, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Toby Alderweireld was a good player, but he wasn't the quality he was until Poch took him up a level. I don't
understand the question. Are you saying what? Are you saying what world class players did we sign? I don't understand the question.
The players that came in to Poch,
yeah,
were good or very good at times, but none of them were what I would call quality at that time. Poch took them up.
But you're the way you're describing quality is if like world class.
Well, that is what I would call a quality player. Wanyama was not, in my eyes, he was very good.
You could be quality without being world class, though. Right? Okay, Dan. No.
Quality.
Okay, I think like you said, both rate him. We all rate him. It's just different ways of talking
like you
about.
Said, we never do it. We never buy quality players.
Can we rephrase this question? No. Hold on. No. I made it clear. I don't expect us to sign Mbappe's, De Bruyne's, the elite, but the level below, I do believe we can. And Spurs identify players of that level, not a lot, but a few. There's not one Spurs fan that will disagree that under Paul Mitchell, our transfers were the best we've seen. He was a very good scout, and he brought in players that were very good. So they came in at a 7 or 8 out of 10, and Poch made them a 9 or a 10 maybe. But what we're doing now under Conte, Jose, Nuno, Ange, and what I'm seeing from Frank now is we're signing 4s and 5s, maybe a 6 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. But we've never got the drop off out and out quality players. We've never done it. I mean, for me, you've got good, very good, a quality player, and then you've got world class. But then we all look on it very different in life. Some people have different stages, whatever else. For me, we did not buy one out and out quality player under Poch. What we bought was good players and very good players that he then made into quality.
Okay, players. Dan, I want us to sign good players. Dan, I want us to sign good players. We don't do that. We don't sign good players.
That one I'll agree with. We haven't particularly done that. But again,
so
if you go and get 3 first team players, we have improved.
No, I don't want first team players. I want good players because you can be shit and walk into this first team. My granddad, if he was alive, could play on the right wing ahead of Johnson. My grandmother, who couldn't play football, can play ahead of fucking Timo Werner. I don't want starters. Sorry, guys. I don't want starters.
But you got to start. You got to start somewhere, ain't you?
Yeah.
I mean, if it was that easy to go and get the world class players and the quality players, then go and fucking do it. But we know Spurs don't do it. We know we don't do that. So what we need to realistically look at is hope that Spurs go and buy some good players. That Frank has got the capability of, hopefully, only time will tell, of doing a Poch and making them from good to very good to quality. But I doubt we'll ever get a player again that we make world class.
So an argument, sorry, Ellie, just quickly. So an argument, you don't believe Frank will do it, what Poch did, is because of the level of quality has dropped off so bad since Poch, hasn't it, really? The signings. That would be a good argument, I think, because it has, hasn't it?
I think that's a fair point.
I want to hear from Nige. Sorry, Ellie, did you want to say something? Because then I want to bring in Nige.
I was just saying about Alderweireld. He was a very, very good player, and Poch took him up a little level. Yeah?
He wasn't very good.
He's a very,
he couldn't even get an Atletico Madrid team, Ellie.
Yeah, but he couldn't even get an Atletico signed in.
Yeah, and you look at Southampton; they weren't exactly great,
very
Ellie.
Good for them. He was playing very,
well.
Very
Southampton qualified for Europe under Poch with Alderweireld.
But they still
was playing very well.
He couldn't get in a very good team, and that was Atletico Madrid.
I was very happy that we signed it that way.
I was. But again, it's another one, Ellie, that we signed with potential of making him quality, which Poch had the quality to do. And if he was that good, then why the hell wasn't he in Atletico Madrid's team? He wasn't.
But we don't sign good players anymore. We don't sign good players. We don't even sign good. No. We sign Archie Gray for 40 million and we think he's a centre mid. He's all over the shop.
I agree. We don't. But we need players to improve that team. But anyway,
I just read an article, right, that Archie Gray had a spectacular season with Spurs. Spectacular.
Who wrote that? That's ridiculous.
The Daily Mail. Daily Mail.
Ali Gold. Ali Gold.
Yeah, well, that just about says it all.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
Right, Nige, mate. What's your thoughts on that question? And what you've heard so far. I mean, don't look hopeful at the
question again?
moment, but go for it. About can Spurs challenge with under Levy, with Frank in charge? Looking back, what we've done in the past with Poch, any hope do you have at all?
No, we're not going to be challenging for the title. Of course, we're not. We are well off it. We've got to be looking at now getting back into that top 10 and seeing where we go. A trophy
After over 2-3 years, Nige. Sorry, mate. Maybe not the first season.
over
second
2 or 3
season,
years.
third season.
Probably not. I just think the gap's too big. I just think the gap's way too big. Cup, yes, absolutely. That's what we should be looking at. That's what Tottenham are famous for. Let's face it. Listen, I'm 50 years old. I've never seen us win a league title. Probably never will. So
None of us have.
but the cups is what we should be going for. But what I also want to see is progression in the league. I want us to see us qualify for Europe every year. Can we win the Premier League? No. Can we win the Champions League? No, not under this regime. Levy has to back the manager, but I feel like we say it every time we get a new manager in. Like Levy has to back this one. And Stell's right, we never do. But
So I want to say, basically, obviously we heard that interview. Levy said he wants to win the Premier League, Champions League. Okay, let's see what he does in the transfer market. We'll have to wait and see by the end of the window, right? We're all very, very, very doubtful. Now, do you think fans, now after hearing that interview, are they going to hold into account? Anyone can take it.
No.
No?
I mean, Mourinho being sacked for a cup final, that the fans' reaction summed it up. They won't hold him to account.
What about the change for Tottenham and still that building next season? If the transfer window is terrible, do you think change for Tottenham are going to arrange another protest for the beginning of the season?
Half the fan base are against the protesters. They're against the whole process of it. They're against the movement. So they're up against it, man. They're up against it.
I agree. But the other problem I think we've got with these protests now, this is where I have to see something in the protest to believe something. Now, I was at the protest for what I feel was the right reasons. And that was because I want Levy out. Yeah, Ange out as well, touch, but Levy out. I've got a funny feeling that when you go to this next protest, and I hope I'm wrong, that some people might have a bit of shock in the aspect of how many people was actually there for Ange out and not necessarily Levy out. Now, okay, you're going to get a few others, I think, turn up that didn't turn up before because they're now turning up because Ange is gone, not because they think Levy is the main problem. This is where we're going to see whether these protests are solid or just bullshit, basically, as far as I'm concerned, in the aspect of the amount of people there. Now, there's going to be a significant amount of people that are there for the right reason, which we think is the right reason, which is Levy out. But it will show how many people was actually there more because we were 17th and because, or 16th at the time, whatever it was, and because they wanted Ange out. How many people are now going to shut up and say what Stell says, like, well, we've just finished our first Europa Cup. Thank you very much, Mr. Levy, for actually changing your ways and everything and actually sticking by a manager like you never did before and letting him get to the final and win it. I don't necessarily want Levy out now because he actually changed his ways for that season, stuck by his manager. The manager won us the Europa Cup. I've got what I want. I'm going to keep quiet for 2 or 3 years now. That's not speaking for me. That's speaking for how I feel some people can look at it. Because like you say, Stel, we won a Europa Cup. What the fuck are people going to complain about now? But then there's going to be people like you. There's going to be people like me. There's going to be people like us who look a bit deeper. But there's going to be a lot of people there who will shut up because we won a Europa Cup and will change their mind over a matter of 90 minutes.
Listen, I've been protesting longer than anyone on this
I'm
panel,
not discussing you otherwise. I'm not discussing
I'm telling you what will happen with the protest because I know how it works, okay? I've done too many of them to know. The transfer window will determine whether there's any protests at the start of the season. And if the transfer window is okay, there won't be any protests of any significance. The only time you'll see a protest after then is if there's a run of bad results and we end up like looking like a mid-table team, then you'll see protests ramp up. Results have always driven the protests. Even when we were falling apart in the league, because we were progressing into the semi-finals, final of the Europa Cup, the protest stopped because the results of something was doing well. Results always determine the protests. That's how it's been all the time I've been protesting. The results.
So what are the protests there for then? Are the protests actually there for Levy out, which some of us are? You have been the whole time, and I'm not discussing that in any means or manner. But are some of the protesters there then, which I believe are, at least half of them, I think, hope I'm wrong, are more there for just where we are in the league and not winning, and then as soon as we win a cup, we'll sit back for a season or two and keep their mouth shut because they got something they wanted. This is how we see how in-depth some people are into it, if you get where I'm coming from.
Most of the protesters are there because they've had enough of the board. They're sick to death of Enoch and Levy.
I would hope so. Because that's why
they are. They are there. But just as quickly as they're sick, they can very quickly be tolerant. So if we go on a good run of games winning, they'll bite their lips.
Yeah.
They'll keep
or if we win a Europa Cup.
If we win a trophy, no Spurs fan's going to protest. Why would you? That's what you want.
Well, we've just won a trophy then.
If we were to go out and sign
which is why there's no protest right now, Dan.
No, but even starting next season, Stal, you're right. Transfer window says, if we were to go out and sign a player like Eze, you would get a lot of the people who went to the protest would be like, we're signing good players now. And they probably wouldn't go.
But that's not enough, is it? Nice. This is the problem with some fans and what they want. That's what they want. I don't want just one. We need more. No. Yeah, but that's just me. And I'm sure most of us on the panel, many in the chat will think the same. Right? It's wanting more than what we've seen. And one, Eze, if that's going to make everyone happy, then we've got no hope.
Dan, let me ask you a question, okay? And this is just so you can understand how the fan base works, right? If I said to you right now, we're going to finish 11th in the league and win the FA Cup, or we're going to finish top 4 and no trophy, what would you take next season, first year under Frank?
I'd take a trophy. We've won in 17 years. Trophies, we have to take a trophy.
Even if we finish 11th?
Yeah, I think 11th, first season under Frank, winning the trophy. I mean, then you want to build on it the season after, don't you?
Most fans will not accept that. They won't accept it.
Would you accept that?
I will accept finishing 17th and another trophy, Dan.
Yeah.
I don't care where we finish as long as we win trophies. But most fans, they won't. I can bet you money someone like Sava will not accept that. He'll be like, no. Right? And he's allowed to think that. I reckon Dan might swing that way as well. I think Dan might say, yeah, no, I'm not taking 11th. Right? Okay, there you go. So
you know what?
Most fans agree with those. Most fans would agree with Dan and Sava on this. And for me, that's why there's an issue with the protests ramping up.
Are they the protesters, though, Stel? Right. Those people think that. Are they the protesters?
No. What I'm saying to you is that's why the protests can't really build up anymore because most. Listen, I've understood this since the last 2-3 years doing the protest before Change for Tottenham grew it. Okay. Most of our fans care more about watching a good football team play football than winning a trophy, right? In an ideal world, we want both. Can we play great football and win trophies? But it's impossible to do that if you don't change the way we go about transfers, right? It can't be done, which is why no other team's done it other than the teams that buy those top players. So you got to. Whilst Levy and Enoch are here, whilst they behave the way they do, as a fan, you've got to pick. What would you prefer, league position or a trophy? Because if you want a trophy, you're not going to come top 4. You're not even going to come top 6. No manager under Levy has ever got top 6 and won a trophy. It's never been done. Oh. And previous managers like Redknapp and Poch had 2 of the best teams I've seen Spurs have in the last 30 years in terms of quality of players. So if you want to do well in the league, then yeah, we can do it. Frank can get us in the top 4. But get
Right.
trophies off. Get trophies off your minds, guys. Get trophies off your
But
mind.
still, you got to try and look on this from another side as well, yeah. Because I try and look on things on both sides, yeah, and then make my mind up with it. Now, the way I see it, again, it's different things. For me, the way you see it, what you're doing is giving Levy more ammunition. Because finishing 17th and winning an FA Cup gets you fuck all. Gets you no money, basically. Okay, it gets you a Europa Cup place, but it don't get you the money to spend. And then that gives Levy the excuse, oh, well, I can't spend the money. We all know he's a prick anyway, yeah? But look on it from that side. The thing is, finishing fourth, and obviously we want to finish fourth or fifth and get a cup and everything and that, but like you say, that's very hard to do, yeah? Whereas if you go finish fourth for, say, 3 seasons, well, the money's coming in. We're getting in the Champions League. Levy, why aren't you spending money? We go and finish 17th, 16th, 15th for 3 seasons and win the FA Cup 3 times on the trot. Levy can turn around every single time and say, but the money's not coming in. So with the way you do it, my opinion, you're actually giving Levy more money. You're basically giving him more ammunition not to spend money.
Okay, now can I hit the facts? The
it.
complete opposite is the fact. The fact is, if we get top 4 on a budget, Levy, what he has factually done is, I don't need to spend to get top 4. We can do it on a budget. So by continuing to get top 4 on a budget, you're saying to Levy, we don't need to spend because it can be done his way. So that's what Levy's done, which is why when we've ever been in a position of strength, i.e. top 4 or Champions League, he doesn't go for it because in his head, I don't need to. I did it this way and it works. And that's what he's done for 25 years.
He's done it for a long time, but the way you say it as well also gives him an excuse not to spend money.
No,
so
it
does that
doesn't,
mean
because he
we're
doesn't spend
basically
that.
screwed? So does that mean exactly? That's what I just
Daniel
said.
Levy spends more money when we're in
Anyway.
trouble, Dan. Daniel Levy spends more money when we're in trouble. When we're in the shit, 8th, 9th, that's when he goes big in the windows. Like, fuck, we're going to miss out on top 4 next year like this. That's when he goes big.
But
when
we've
he's got
just finished
top 4,
17th and got in the Champions League. So
yeah.
in
So
other
now we're in the
words,
Champions
we don't
League.
spend when we're in the Champions League. So now that we just finished 17th, got less money in, even though the Champions League saved us, and finished 17th, but we got the Europa Cup and got in the Champions League, he's now got a reason why he don't spend money again, as far as I'm concerned.
Dan,
You're basically screwed if you do, you're screwed if you don't.
We spent 300 million. We spent 300 million on Ange, not in the Champions League. Why? Because Levy panics and says, shit, we're in trouble. I'm not going to get top 4. Spend big. When we do get top 4, he does the opposite. He's like, oh, okay, we're safe now. Everything's fine. Don't spend. He's done this every single time. You look, when we finish 5th or below, when we finish 5th or below, that's when he spends the biggest budget, guys. Go look at history. Go look at the biggest transfer windows. It's when we've missed out on top 4 because he panics. He's like, fuck, I need Champions League.
We haven't missed out this time. We haven't missed out this time.
Exactly, which is why he's not going to spend big, Dan. Which is why he's not going to spend big. Which is why he won't spend big.
So we're screwed if we do, and we're screwed if we don't then still.
Which is why, Dan, I'm glad you said that, which is why I don't care where we finish as long as we get a trophy, because where you talk about the money, I don't get the money. He gets the money. He does what he wants with it. But if we get a trophy, it gives me pride. It gives me bragging rights. It gives me a parade. It gives me a cup final, and I get to give it to all the goons. So what do I want? To make money for Levy or give me a trophy? I'll take the trophy, guys.
Let me come in here. Still, you know this.
I'll take it all. But Levy's in the way. He's the cock block.
He is.
He's a cock block. He's a proper cock block.
No, still, you know, you talk about trophies. Yeah. What teams normally win trophies? Good teams, right? Tough teams to play against. Teams that do well normally win trophies, right?
Sometimes.
No, most of the time.
Under Levy.
No, just generally. If we look at the Premier League,
Crystal Palace finished mid-table won the FA Cup.
Yeah, and that is rare, right? It doesn't normally
Leicester
happen.
City
That's
won a league title.
in
Wigan,
their whole
Portsmouth.
life.
It happens, man.
It happens, but we can't. Come on, Stel. You know, good teams. If you look at the teams who won the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, which teams win them? It's normally the top teams in the Premier League.
Okay. What position are we in when we win trophies? Ramos 8th and 17th.
No, but
keep finishing low, man. We win trophies.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that you need a good team to try and win those trophies. It's not just, let's hit and hope, isn't it?
we've had good teams and we didn't win nothing.
And we should have won under Redknapp and we should have won under Poch, but Poch prioritised
Poch, definitely.
Premier League and Champions League. He said he weren't interested in winning those domestic cups.
This is this is what fans think like now. League for me, guys, right? And look, I know this splits fan opinion, right? I get it. For me, unless we can genuinely, and I mean genuinely, win the league title, I couldn't give a shit where we finish as long as we don't get relegated. I couldn't care less because
you need a decent team still. You need a decent team to challenge for trophies. You can't just have a rubbish team like we did under Ange last season.
8 times out of 10, you do. I agree with you.
We weren't a rubbish team. He just mugged off the league to win a trophy. He mugged it off. He completely mugged it off.
Team under him. Under him,
we weren't a good shit manager over.
We had
a good
just
team.
a shit manager over 38 games in the best league in the world. That's what it
the
came
league
down
is the
to.
proof of that how good a team is.
He won a cup that is easier to win than the League Cup. But at the
So
end of the day, he won a cup, so it matters.
No, it ain't.
Would
It's
you-
easier than the League Cup.
Who would you rather be? Oh no! Let's
play 19 games in the Europa Cup to win it.
Yeah, and Ellie, half the games you can go and stick your under 21s team in there. Yeah, 3 of the games weren't.
So why didn't Conte
still
win the
weren't
easy
easy.
games in the cup? Why didn't Poch win the easy games in the cup? Why didn't Mourinho win the easy
Prioritised
games in the
league.
cup?
Still, they prioritised the league.
Exactly. So
Them
okay,
days,
guys.
not the fans. It's not the fans.
All right,
It's the managers.
So what would you rather have? What would you rather have? No, they didn't prioritise the league. We were 2-0 up against Dinamo. Jose fucked it. We lost 1-0 to Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Sheffield United were a championship side. We lost to Norwich at our home ground, and they got relegated.
So why
We
did
lost
we
to them.
lose that game? Still, in your opinion,
Ask
why
the
did we
manager.
lose that
Ask the
game
manager.
against-
Ask the manager.
Mourinho,
Levy sacked off
Poch.
the league, not Ange. Levy sacked it off.
Guys,
He
let me
sacked
ask you
it
a
off.
question
He
then.
said, don't worry about the league, Ange. Go to the Europa. We're going
Right.
to get Champions League. That's all he cares about. That's all
Genuine
he cares
question,
about.
right? Genuine question to all you 4 on the panel and everyone in the chat. And be honest, right? Be really honest with this. And there's no wrong or right answer. Whose season would you have taken this year? Ours or Arsenal's?
Ours.
Only
Well,
because
yeah,
we
ours.
won that
Obviously,
trophy.
Arsenal.
That was because, but if. No. Not if, but maybe
Nige.
caveat. Tottenham
Let
or Arsenal? Who would you
Nige
take?
Let Nige finish, and then I'll tell my bit, and I'll be honest.
All right.
I'll be honest. I'll tell you.
Thing
How I
is,
feel.
it is so difficult because we are all Tottenham fans, yeah? If someone says to me now, next year, would you take 15th in an FA Cup? I'll be like, yeah, go on then, it's an FA Cup. But sitting through 10 months of crap like we had to this season, just for 90
18
minutes of
months.
joy, I don't know, it's a tough one. If I
Pick
we
one.
can just go straight to the
If it was
final and win
guaranteed,
it,
Nige, isn't
brilliant.
it? If it was
I don't wanna
guaranteed
sit through
every
10 months.
season, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not guaranteed, is it?
Guys,
It's a
what would you
10-month
pick?
between.
Spurs or Arsenal? Who would you pick this
hours
season?
of play.
Whose season would you take? At come end of May, season's over. Whose season do you want? Spurs or Arsenal?
Yeah, but if
Spurs.
that was what it was, right? That was we won the Europa League, so you take it.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole week to week was so bad. It was just, you know what I mean? If it was
Also-
like that still, but football's not
22
like that.
weeks.
You
But Dan,
can't just say we're
hold
gonna
on.
win the cup.
Dan, 1 minute. Dan, 1 minute, right? 1 minute. You just said you take Spurs after
Yeah.
telling me we've been shit all year. So why would you take
Yeah.
Spurs then over Arsenal? Because they come second. They've done well in the league. Why would you? Why?
That's we're gagging for a
just-
trophy.
You've got to weigh up then. 22 weeks was bad. 16 weeks not so bad.
Dan, I'm about to
18
clip. I'm
months.
about to clip Dan. I'm going to clip.
No, clip me because look. Let me give people some understanding of how I felt all season. Obviously, I'm sure people watch me. People on the panel know, but I can't be complaining every week next season under Ange again. I can't do that. And then we might win a cup by the end of the season. Come on.
It's because of
I
football
just find it ironic
Right.
that we talk about league position. Then when I give you a really good league position or shit one with a cup, you're taking the position
Yeah, because
low with the cup.
it's an oddity. It was a bit of a fluke, I think. I think it
There
was a
is
fluke.
2 sides to it.
Here we go. Here we go.
What was the
All right.
fluke?
When we win, it's a fluke. Here we go.
It was a bit. It all fell into place.
Why is it a fluke?
You said,
and-
Dan, we're going to lose away to Frankfurt, just as I did.
did.
We
Wasn't
said
that
we're
fluke?
fucked. Right.
Yeah.
And we
Maybe
didn't.
fluke's not the right word. Maybe fluke's not the right word. Maybe
No.
the right word is that it all fell in place. And
I'll tell
probably
you
the
what.
bigger thing is Ange dumped off the league. That's why we won it. He
No,
dumped
I'll tell
it
you
off
what,
the
you
league.
you do more U-turns than Keir
I
Starmer. You
don't
know
think. Dan,
What,
I
what
don't
do you
think.
think?
I
What do you think
don't
Ange should
think.
get the sack?
I don't think
I
he's
don't
got the
think
league.
you get what I'm saying, man.
To make Champions
I do
League.
get what you're saying. You're worried it was going to
I don't
happen
think you
again
do.
next year. No, you said you're worried it was. You don't want to watch us be shit next year again. But what I'm saying is, I will take that if you give me a trophy at the end of it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but if that's guaranteed, but that's not football. You can't guarantee it. That's the problem.
Yeah, but you can't guarantee we'll finish 17th either. We might finish top 5 again, like we did in the first season.
Yeah.
If you could tell me that we were going to finish 17th this year, finishing the Europa, but also tell me for a fact we was going to get rid of the manager that I personally believe that would have got us relegated next season, I can go on that side. I couldn't give a shit. He got 17th. Yeah, but Ellie, I'm allowed my opinion. And I'm giving you a solid opinion.
Of course you're allowed.
And I'm giving you a solid opinion on why. Because one of the... yeah, but my opinion is we nearly got relegated. And
Your opinion's not facts, though.
He could have got us... But most opinions ain't facts. That's the thing, Ellie.
Yeah, but it is a fact that he's never been relegated in his whole
Okay,
entire
but you can say certain
management.
things have happened. You can say you might have never won the lottery and still win it tomorrow or tonight.
Can I ask you a question, guys?
So with that one, I personally believe he would have stood a high chance of getting us relegated next season, yeah? Because at least one of the teams coming up is significantly better than one of the 3 that came up last season, yeah? And I think he had more the capability of getting us relegated. So if you give me the option of 17th, Europa Cup, we get Champions League, but then get rid of that dog shit manager that has been absolute crap for 18 months.
That's not the options I gave you, though.
Then I can look at it, yeah? But if you say that I've got to go 17th, win a cup, and we keep Ange, I mean, because it's about making improvement, isn't it? You talk about improvement on players, so I want improvement on a manager. So if I thought
winning a trophy is an improvement.
Of course it is.
Qualifying for Champions League is an improvement.
So's getting rid of a manager that nearly got us relegated. So,
but he's the only manager that's won a trophy in 2 decades.
I think Stell's living in dream world. Honestly, Stell, you're living in dream world. I don't think you really answered the question, man. I've got to be honest.
You've done 2 U-turns in 5 minutes, and I'm
no.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Are we doing this?
Let's go back to my point. When I pushed with you, Stell, about good teams win cups, right? And you just dismissed it. You dismissed
I didn't dismiss it.
It was, maybe we can. But come on. Good
9
teams
times out
win
of 10,
cups
you're
more
right.
likely to win a trophy, and you just dismissed it. So how do you
think?
How do you think we're going to win more trophies?
Dan, we've had good teams and we won nothing. We've had good teams and we won nothing. Poch had a good team for 5 years. We won nothing. Redknapp had a good team for 4 years. He won nothing. That's 9 years of football. We won nothing. So you're right. Good teams normally win trophies, but Spurs is different because the way we build a good team is sucking blood out of a stone, not by signing good players.
I agree with that.
They can get it over the line.
It's not only that, though, Still, the reason why we didn't win is because there are better teams out there as well. We were really good.
No.
But
then why did we get smashed at home by 2 teams?
Leicester won the league fair and square. They weren't a better team than us, Leicester, but Chelsea were definitely a better team all round.
Ellie, the issue with that Leicester season, right, and it goes back to the same problem Ange found this year is, Leicester City that season played 44 games. Spurs played 62. We played almost 24 games. And during the season, go back, Ericsson was out for 3 weeks. Vertonghen was out for 6 weeks. We missed Alderweireld for a month. Our key players, they took it in turns to take injuries. If you look at Leicester, not only did they play less games, so all they did was every week, league. They crashed out of domestic cups early doors. Vardy, N'Golo Kante, Schmeichel. There was 2 other players. Who was the guy at the back, the tall guy, German guy, centre back for them? Huth. And then Riyad Mahrez, their top players. None of them, and Riyad Mahrez, their top players, none of them got injured that season. None of them. So for me, they deserve to win it because they won their games and each week they went about their business. But luck was on their side as well. They had, you need luck. You need luck in football.
Yeah,
we had all the fucking shit luck. We're 2-0 up at Stamford Bridge.
You need luck in life.
and World War III kicks off. The Battle of the Bridge, right? We go to fucking war.
Then Pele was going to gouge out Costa's eyes.
It's like we had no experience.
We were
Let me
a
answer
better
my
team
question
than them.
to you.
We had
We
no.
I'll
would've
answer my
won
question to
something.
you.
We were a really good team.
The question
You
was, do I take 17th and the cup, or do I take second? Right. If Angie's staying next season,
you take Spurs this season or Arsenal's.
It all depends on whether the manager stays or not. If the manager's
No,
staying
that's
next
not the
season,
question.
I take Arsenal's. But I can only give you an honest
If
answer.
you
for
could go
both
back to
sides.
the start of this season, Dan, if you go back to the start of this season, and I say to you, Spurs are going to finish 17th but win the Europa and get into the Champions League. Arsenal are going to win nothing, but they're going to finish second and get Champions League. Whose season would you take?
It all depends on whether Ange stays or goes for
No, that's not. You don't know that start of the season. We just know the outcome
Exactly.
of the teams.
It's
No, we know the
other way
outcome of
round,
the
though, isn't it?
teams.
Same thing.
No, because Ange
Ask
leaving
the
is for
question.
next season. I'm talking about this season just gone. Whose season would you have taken?
But again, I can only give you the honest answer whether Ange stays or goes. If you would have told me at the end that Ange is saying, I'll take Arsenal.
And you say that I'm in La La Land. Are you kidding? Everyone else gave an answer, but you. If you
No, I gave
you
you my
don't know
honest
what's going to
answer.
happen to the managers, right? Whose
No, I
season would
don't.
you have taken? Whose season?
Do you know what? If Ange is staying, I'll take
No,
Arsenal's.
forget the managers staying because we don't know that until the season's
Take Ange
over.
out the equation.
Whose season would you have
I
taken?
can't. That's the
Spurs'
thing
or
is,
Arsenal?
You
with
have
that,
to.
it's
No,
the
Dan,
end of
because
it.
the season is Ange is here during that season. During the season gone, he's here for that. Just for that season. This is a new season with Frank. So last season, whose season would you have taken? Tottenham's or Arsenal's?
Right. Okay. With a manager that shit, and then I'll take Arsenal's.
And there you go. That's
Because
where most of our fans are.
But the thing is, still, you've also got to look on the other side. Now, I've answered your question, yeah? But you've now got to also at least look on it from my side, yeah? You haven't got to agree with me. But my point is, I was more worried about... Because I know what happened at the end of the season and the manager, it's actually quite hard to answer this question without an out honest. I still answer it that, yeah, I'll take second place. Why? Because I know how dog shit Ange is and that I think he can get us relegated.
That wasn't the question.
I can't get that.
It wasn't about Ange getting relegated.
You haven't let me finish. You haven't let me finish. I can't get that out the back of my head. I can't just forget about that and give you the answer from the start of the season. Because
you can, because you're judging the season on a whole, not a new season.
I know.
You're just judging that one season.
I can't get that Ange was that poor out the side of my head and just forget that.
Right, so you pick Arsenal season. You pick Arsenal season.
If we're going to keep Ange, I'll keep Arsenal season.
We don't know about the manager. We're just judging that one season. You're trying to wriggle out of it because you know.
No, I'm not.
I
already gave you my answer.
A bit bad. You
I
don't want to
already gave you my answer. No, I already gave you my answer. I'll take second place.
Okay, and that's the issue we've got at Spurs. Fans
I gave
prioritise the league over trophies. This is the issue we've got at Spurs.
I don't just give answers though. Still, I also give reasons. Yeah, whether you agree with the reasons or not, that's totally up to you. Yeah, but I give you my reasons. Same as when I make a statement on here, I always give my reason to it. It doesn't mean my reasons right. It doesn't mean my reason's right. But I can give a reason on why I like something to eat more than you because it's sweeter or because it's spicier, whatever turns you on again at the end of the day. I can't get it out the side of my head and answer 100% honest because I know what happened. But if I feel that manager is that bad that he gets us relegated, I'll take second place. Personal opinion, he had a high chance of getting us relegated next season.
Dan, I don't care who the manager of Tottenham is. You can bring in Arteta. If we finish 17th and win a trophy, I'm taking that season all day long. All day long.
When does that happen, Stel? When does that ever happen in the history of football? Very
Last
rare.
season.
Yeah, but when is it going to happen again?
When's
it going to happen again, Stel? You've got to look at it. What happens season in, season out? Who wins competitions? Right?
Dan, you're missing my point. You're missing my point, Dan. You're missing my point.
Why would you want to finish second every season and win nothing?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Why would you want to
but that's my point. Dan, that's my
point. You any credibility finishing second every season?
Dan, that's my point, though, analyst. I don't care where we finish in the league as long as we don't get relegated and we win a trophy. If those two criteria are met, whether we finish second, 17th,
black and white like that. No context, nothing. Just black and white.
No, that is context. It's called wanting to win a trophy above everything else. I've been like that on Tottenham away for 6 years. Ever since I started the channel, every argument, I have been one of those fans that's always said, I will take 10th, 12th if you give me a trophy. I've always been that way because I believe
10th or 12th, I'll go with you on that one. 10th or 12th.
What's the difference? You're still out of Europe. You're still shit.
What's the difference? About 7 places and about another
17th to 12th. What's the difference? Who finished 12th last season, guys?
22 defeats and 17th place.
Yeah,
10th place.
We could lose 100 games if we win a trophy. I don't care.
You give me the option of 10th in the cup, I'll take it. 10th in the cup, I'll go for it.
Listen,
but 17th.
So league position doesn't matter then. So league position doesn't matter. 10th is no Europe. It's average.
If Spurs did that still, right, regularly, then I'll be okay. But we don't.
Do you know what? Another U-turn. Another U-turn.
Why is that a turn? Why?
Because now you're saying if we did it regularly, you'd accept it.
But we don't do it though. Still, that's the point.
We don't win trophies, Dan. We don't win trophies.
Don't win trophies, but to win trophies, have a better chance. You need to have a better team. You need to have a better team to more likely to win a trophy. That's fair.
Wave that flip flop. Wave it. Look, guys.
Why is that a flip flop? I don't agree with that. Still,
I'm very.
We had the bad thing, still won.
What's that? What's that, Ellie?
How comes we had the bad team but still won the Europa League? When we had a
because Ange dumped off the league. He dumped off the league. He dumped off the league completely. Poch didn't do that. Conte didn't do that.
Poch didn't win anything.
Spurs managers don't dump off league. Normal Spurs managers don't do that. Week to week.
We got called Spursy. We got called Spursy under those managers. We got called Spursy. No one called us Spursy under this season. Arsenal fans were having nuclear meltdown, generational emergency meeting podcasts. They were going ballistic. No one was calling us Spursy. Rory Jennings.
It was fantastic.
Rory Jennings, the biggest Spurs hater, he did an apology. He did a public apology to us, and you're telling me about league position. I don't care.
Look at this a different way then.
I don't care. Just win trophies.
Okay, still look at this a different way then. Yeah, we had a manager and a team that won us the Europa Cup and get in the Champions League. So what are you moaning about that we're not necessarily going and buying world-class players? They was good enough to win a cup.
No, I'm moaning that we aren't going to go to the next level by not signing quality players.
Mm-hmm.
And what you call good
I was moaning that we wouldn't go to the next level if we keep the fucking manager.
Okay, well now you've got Frank and we're not signing good players. Let's see us go to the next level with Ben Davies, Tell, Japanese random kid, Japanese 16-year-old random. Go on, Frank. Bring that league title home. Ben Davies at the back again.
I believe Frank would have had the capability of getting us, say,
no one's winning the Champions League or the Premier League with this team.
Of course not. No, of course not.
Right.
And what would Ange
because we need high quality players, and that's got nothing to do with the manager. Like, look, I don't blame Frank for the transfers. By the way, I don't think he has a real say in
inverted football. Who was telling the wing backs to play inverted? Who was telling 8 of the 11 players to play a total?
We're not winning the league if we play with proper fullbacks. Dan. Yeah, the same manager that won the Europa Cup. We're going around in circles, guys. And we're going around in circles.
It works. This is what I'm saying. It works both ways. So if the manager must have been that good that he won us a cup that we haven't won for ages, then the players must have been that good that they was able to win us a cup that Poch's team couldn't do it with.
Okay, so Frank's going to win the league then. He's going to show us how good they are. So Frank's going to show us how good they are, right?
But if you want to big up and get better, obviously the players, and we want better players, but we've also got to get a better manager as well. It works both ways, doesn't it?
Why? Keep a manager that knows how to win. Frank knows how. Ange knows how to win.
So what was Ange going to win next season? Still, what was he going to win?
I think we could have won. I think we could have won some domestic cups. I think we could have won one of the domestic cups.
Yeah, you really?
Yeah,
really.
I do. Yeah,
really believe
it's not impossible.
Yes,
it's not impossible.
Yes,
I think he'd have got us relegated.
I think we can. We got to a semi. We were 90 minutes away from a Carabao Cup final before we got absolutely dunked on at Anfield. But I think he can. If he just focuses on that one cup, I think he can. Mm-hmm. Do I think Ange can win a trophy and get top 6? No, I don't. I don't think Ange can do that. But I don't think any manager at Spurs can do that. They never have. Yeah. It's never been done.
If you take
it's never been done, guys. It's never been done.
The first season he finished 5th, second season 17th. That's average 10th. It is. If you
I
add it
don't
up,
believe it. I don't believe it in Ange. I'm pleased he's gone. I'm very
That's
happy
right,
he's
because
gone.
of the
I'm not going
football.
through that
I
next
didn't
season.
like the
I
football.
personally think he could have
I
got us
loved it when he
relegated.
won.
Same as
I
Stell
loved it that he
says,
won.
if
He
he's
was a
focused on a
winner.
cup.
Right,
Stell
so
says he's
guys-
focused on a cup, he could win a cup. Ifs, buts, and maybes, I agree, anything is possible. But then on my side, you've also got to see my side of it. I strongly believe he would have got us relegated. It's opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
So Andrew's gone. It's what most people want. He's gone. Now you've got Frank, a coach. Can we just stop moaning about transfers
Now
and
we
let
need
him
to
coach?
focus on the players. Well, we've improved on the
Why
managers.
can't
we moan?
Can we let Frank coach?
Yeah.
Can we let Frank
Why
coach?
can't we moan, Stel? Why can't we moan? We're allowed to moan. We're fans, man. What's this? You can't moan.
That's what we do, isn't it?
Why? What is that? Justify it, Stel. Justify it, and then I'll hear it.
Okay, by law, I can't stop you from moaning. I'm making a recommendation to stop moaning because you've now got a manager that you want. Let him now do the job and coach. But instead, look at this show. Midsummer Meltdown, you've called it. Why is there a meltdown then? Why are you having a meltdown? Why have you called the show Meltdown?
Because the fan base is looking like that, doesn't it?
Why? Why though? They've got the manager they want.
Because they're not getting the transfers in. No, we're not signing the players that.
I thought it's about the manager. I thought it's about the tactics. I thought about the coaching.
It's both. It's both.
Oh, so it's both. So can we?
It's both.
So can we give Ange some good players then? If it's both.
Well, we didn't, did we? This is the problem.
Exactly.
No, but on the other side of it
Exactly.
as well, is I think even if we'd have given Ange better players, I still think he's got the capability of getting us relegated because he's such a shit manager in the aspect of over 38 games in the league where he's playing significantly better games, teams all the time than he was in the Europa Cup. I personally think he's got the capability of getting us relegated. Now the problem is to improve in life. Yeah, you got to find out your problems, not just put them under the pillow. Yeah, it's a big mistake a lot of people make in life. Yeah, I'm sure we've all been guilty of it once in our lives. Yeah, at least once. So right, you work out the problems. Right, the biggest problem is it actually Levy or is it actually Lewis? I suppose we can slam them both down as the biggest problem. Yeah. But then you've got to look at your next problem. Right, I want to improve in life. I want to improve in football. Right, the next problem, even though he got us a cup, the manager was crap. Right, the next thing we now got to do is get a better manager. Next thing we got to do is look at our players, get rid of the players that we don't think are good enough and get better players in it. It all adds up together. It's all there. It can't just be one thing.
But
Now,
you
all
blame
right,
Dan
if
for
someone-
everything. You blame Dan for everything. Now you're saying it's not just one thing. This is hypocrisy.
I'm not saying no. I didn't say he was to blame for everything.
You literally blamed Ange for all our failings, saying he's going to get us
All our
relegated.
tactics and
But now
everything.
saying well, it's not just one thing.
No, we need to improve in more than one thing, don't we? Surely we can improve in more than one thing.
We're up
Surely we
against
can.
it.
Is it-
We're
How
up
many things
against
do you want to
Yeah,
improve in
fun,
your life, or is it just one thing?
Listen, boys, we're up against it because you've got Liverpool are a juggernaut. Historically, they're fantastic. Man United, all right, they've slacked off the last 8 years, whatever, but they're a juggernaut as well. They're attracting all the good players, right? And then you've got Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle have made their stance, Aston Villa. We're fighting a losing battle if Levy doesn't put his money where his mouth is. He's got to get us
This
these
is why
better players.
This is why the fans are having a meltdown.
They're very good second-tier players, and we're not even going for them.
Daniel Levy doesn't need to, Ellie, because the fans are going to give Frank a chance.
what I'm
They're
saying.
just going to let
He's
this
not-
roll out for a year, and Levy will buy another year. This is what he's done for 25 years. This is
His 25th season.
he's played the blinder. He's played the blinder again. He's dumped it all on the manager. I'm not saying Ange is flawless, by the way, but he's dumped it all on him. Fans have gone, hurrah, Project 18, here we go. It's rinse and repeat, guys. And you can see already by the early transfers we've got in and the so-called players, Eze's and Mbeumo's that we were going to get who aren't coming anywhere near us, you can see where we're going with this. You can see we're going to sign one player, whether it's Kudos or Semedo, and that will be the marquee player.
Okay.
This is where we're going. I've seen this happen.
Okay, fine. I'm not disagreeing
Over 3
with that.
decades.
I ain't disagreeing with that part. But let's go into next season and we keep Ange. where do you think he'd have got? Do you think he would have got us a cup and finished in a respectable place in the league? It's an opinion. Do you think he had the capability of doing it?
He already
Yes,
done it.
only because. Yes, only because we're not going to do. No manager, even Frank, is going to do well in the Champions League. It's a different ball game altogether, including Ange.
Yeah.
None of them are going to do well enough.
Champions League.
So we're crushing.
I'll agree with that.
So he'll just focus on a domestic cup, which is only 5 or 6 games. It's less games. But again, it depends because I think, and the same applies to Frank, I think there's 3 or 4 players. If we lose them during the season, I think we're fucked. I do think Frank will better adjust to those scenarios, but I don't think that necessarily means we win the game. He just gets to draw instead because we are so dependent on certain players. Like there is no top level cover for our centre backs. As in top level cover. There's no top level cover for Maddison. There's no one that does what Maddison does in this team. Maddison was our top combined goal assists and goal scorer last season. Kulu, bless him, he had a goodish season, but he dropped off big time. Bergvall's not that player yet. And then you look across the front three. Look across the front three. As much as it hurts me to say this, take Johnson out, we can't fucking score.
Didn't we look better in defence without our main 2 defenders, though? Didn't we actually have our games without our main 2 defenders?
Ange made these players look worse. What about that argument?
Well, when Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, Porro and Vicario all start, our success rate is 75%, which is damn good. But the problem is he never had them all enough. The one was always injured or suspended or whatever, playing for
So why didn't he adapt? Why didn't he adapt throughout the season?
And that's why I said Frank will better adapt in those scenarios. But at the same time, Dan, I don't think just by adapting with crap players, you're going to get it over the line every week.
Are they crap players?
Don't see...
Are they crap players? This is another question. Are they?
No, not at all. I think Ben Davies is. I think Ben Davies is quality, mate. I think he's a top player.
Talking about Ben Davies.
He's the player that had to come on until we signed Danzo. And then when we signed Danzo, we went on the Europa Cup run. I think some players will improve, like the wing-backs will be better because Porro and Udogie are actual wing-backs, not inverted. So I expect both of them to do much better. I do. But Frank isn't going to turn Solanke, Richarlison and Tell into 20 goals a season players. He's not. They're not good enough, man. I think we all agree they're not good enough. We're used to Klinsmann, Sheringham, Kane, Son, Robbie Keane, Defoe.
Yeah, I agree.
Solanke's not the level. He's not bad. He's not a bad player, but he's not
a bad footballer. He's a pretty decent footballer, but he's not got that killer instinct in front of goal. You know?
What's his name?
Not a Harry Kane.
No, he's nowhere near that. Thomas Frank had Wista and then Mbeumo. They walk into our starting 11. They walk into the Tottenham starting 11.
All right, let's add the question to this, because we might as well. I'll be back in 2 ticks. Kick off with that.
This is current squad.
How good is the current squad?
It's hard to tell, isn't it, after last season? But we finished 5th 2 seasons ago. So I would say top 9. I would expect this current squad to be finished
8, 4, 9.
Yeah.
8, 4, 9.
I personally believe last season a better manager with even Frank's capability would have finished us 8th or 7th and won that Europa Cup as well, because I feel we wouldn't have had half the injuries we had, because we all agreed at one point that more than half the injuries were down to Ange and his tactics and the way he didn't use rotation and everything else. So I believe Frank would have had the capability of having us finish in 7th or 8th and winning that Europa Cup. Whereas Ange didn't have the capability of being able to deal with the Premier League and also getting the Europa Cup. So would we have finished in a top 6 position? No, I don't think so. But I think we would have finished in a respectable position, as he would have been a better manager who can adapt to football better, who has a better football knowledge, who wouldn't have got so many players injured the same way and refused to change it when he should have. And then to the point that it was the cup at the end, and at least 2 of those games was he changed his way because the bloody players told him how to do it, and he even admitted that live on TV. So I think Frank would have had us top 7 and top 8, and Europa Cup. Ange hasn't got that capability.
Ange
It-
Postecoglou got 5th. He got 5th place when he just focused on the league. And I think he could have got top 4 had we as Spurs fans, me included, not demanded that we lose to Man City to stop Arsenal win the league, because we didn't cheer on our boys on that day, I'll tell you that for sure. So
If it had
I think
during the season, we would have got top 4. He didn't. That was the problem.
So he got 5th in his first season without Harry Kane, which was taken away from him 2 days before the start of the season. So he done well in the first season, just focusing on one game a week. The problem begins when you have to juggle multiple competition, domestic cups, league, Europa, which is 15 games as well. When you have to juggle that and there's injuries, whether it's your fault, the player's fault, the medical team, bad luck, when you have to juggle multiple campaigns, just like every other manager, you have 2 decisions to make. Either you go for everything and you end up being sacked because you fall apart in the league, or you focus on the cup or the league. And all the managers before him focused, except for Mourinho, I guess, focused on the league. So this squad can get 5th, maybe 4th. It can do it. But like I said about 45 minutes ago, dismiss the cup competitions. You can't do both, unfortunately, because we don't have the quality to bring on cover when there's an injury, when a player isn't performing well, when a player's on international duty. We simply don't have the squad in depth of quality. We've got the numbers,
lost to
not the
Ipswich
quality.
and Crystal Palace, basically, when they hadn't lost the game with, one player missing.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
before
right.
he even focused on the cup.
Yeah,
So
but
he was
like I
already
said,
doing
Dan,
crap in the league.
but what's the excuse for the previous managers before him that couldn't do both? You can't do it at Spurs. You cannot do both at Spurs. You're either a league team or a cup team. If you want both, you need unbelievable level of luck, because we've never, Daniel Levy's never built a squad that is good enough to compete on multiple fronts. When Levy's sitting there with Vinay, when he's sitting there with Vinay telling the fans, we want to win the Champions League, we want to win the Premier League, we want to compete on multiple fronts. Daniel, you've had the best managers in world football, Conte, Mourinho. They are fucking elite. Conte just won Serie A without Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia. He had McTominay in centre mid. He's an elite manager. Unfortunately, at this club, we don't want to back any manager with the level needed of enough good players to rotate, to bring on when there's injuries, when you're down to 10 men. Have I got the quality to bring on and win it? Yes, Ange could have done better, Dan. I'm not saying he couldn't, but fans that think we can do well in the league and the cups, 25 years of evidence says you are so wrong. It's unreal.
I don't think we can dominate a league with what we go. I'm going to at least meet you halfway here, yeah, because I do get where you're coming from. It's just,
no, Dan, you can't do both. It's never been done. You can't.
But what I can say is that I think the manager wouldn't have got half the problems that he would have, because it was down to his tactics and also getting players injured and also making stupid.
That's not the question. That's not the question.
No,
the question
finish.
is what level. No, but you're not answering the question.
I'm answering it, and I'm going to explain why. Because I don't think we'd have had half the injury problems. I don't think we'd have had Van der Ven. I don't think any other manager would have been thick enough, should I even say, to put 2 players that weren't even fit, that hadn't played, i.e. VDV and Romero, on at the same time against a bloody game like Chelsea, and then lose them out for 3 months, and then not change when it matters. I think a better manager would have had us in at least 8th place with winning that Europa Cup. I'm not saying they'd have got a top 4, but I think they would have at least been, 9 positions in front of Ange.
So that proves my point. We can't get top 6 and win a trophy. Because you said
I get
8th.
where you're coming
that proves
from.
my point.
Agreeing. Yeah, I know.
Right.
I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I'm getting it.
True.
But I'm saying 9 places up is a significant difference, though.
Who cares? 8th is shit.
Well, maybe you don't care, but I do care. So,
No, but it's shit. We're a big 6
at
club.
the end
It's
of the day.
shit. 8th is crap for a club like Tottenham.
Yeah.
We should
Unless
be
you're
better,
finishing
but I can
first
deal
in the
with 8th
league,
in the cup.
nothing else matters. The thing is, Dan, right? If you don't finish first, what have you got? You've got prize money. That's it.
But it's not, guys, we all talk about this trophies, but week to week, we don't win trophies week to week, right? We've got to have some enjoyment at watching our team play, don't we? Surely there's that as well, right? You want to be proud of your team. You want to watch good football, yeah? You want to You want to, like under Poch, yeah, we're a really good side. People didn't want to play us. You want that as well. I know his trophies is the biggest thing, but come on, we've got to have some enjoyment week to week supporting Spurs.
I would sacrifice 10 weeks of enjoyment for 250,000 people doing for 250,000 people taking over North London streets. That night in Bilbao, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that night in Bilbao when I was there. Listen,
so don't you want
losing semi-finals to Chelsea under Poch. That night at Ajax, I couldn't give a shit.
Of course,
Bilbao is what it's all about.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Don't you want to watch a good team still? Don't you want to watch a team play well week to week?
I want trophies, Dan. I've said it 10 times.
Yeah, of course,
I want
trophies. We all want trophies.
Ideally, we want to
well, then, if you want both, Dan, if you want both, it's not about the manager. If you want both, it's not about the manager. It's about the players we sign.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't choose the manager. I don't choose the players. I want more than what we're seeing and what's happened over the last 25 years under Levy. I'm doing my own personal protest. I've been to the protest. I'm not putting any money into this club. I haven't put anything since Poch. Right, so I'm doing my own thing, but obviously I've got to support the club still, and want better, and Spurs must push on now. They have to push on, and if they don't, I'll be calling it out.
Your idea of better is to be entertained. My idea of better is just win silverware. That's it.
Yeah, I want silverware as well. Still, of course.
Yeah, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you don't, but you seem to be leaning more towards being entertained week in, week out, whereas I would sacrifice that
just for a team that can win games, not get embarrassed week in, week out.
Yeah, but
right. So if we played shit, 10 men behind the ball, Mourinho football, but won every week,
and we won something, fair enough. But we'd have to go on and win it.
So it goes back to what I said. It's about a trophy.
Yeah,
I want trophies. I agree still.
There's no guarantees, though, is there?
It has to lead to trophies.
There's no guarantees, but there's no guarantees we're going to win every week, though, is there? As well.
No, of course not. But
there are really good teams out there.
Who expects to win every week, though? I mean, seriously, who expects to win every week?
What every fan wants is Man City. Amazing football, mind-blowing goals, trophies, trebles. We want it all. But the sad thing is, and it's where Spurs fans fall flat on their face, you cannot have that under this ownership. They don't want it. They don't care. They sell you every soundbite in the marketing playbook. Yeah. They'll produce videos telling you we're going to win the Champions League and the Premier League. They will change the manager to buy more time than the next one. They don't want it, guys. And the simple way to measure if they want it or not, it's only one thing you've got to look at. Have they changed the wage bill? Are they signing players that we would class as really good? They have to be quality, good. Mitomas, Wiesers. If you see them signing those players regularly, not one every 2 years, and you see the wage bill go up to attract them, then you know they mean business. Then you know, actually, but they haven't done that. They haven't done that so far with Frank. They're not doing it with Frank.
They threaten it, though, don't they? They threaten it. They did it when Ange first came in. I know it wasn't necessarily Ange wasn't there, but Maddison, Van der Ven, obviously we signed Romero before that, and they threaten it with some signings, but they never go the whole way, and that's the problem.
That's right. They don't go the whole hog.
Yeah, that's right, Nudge.
I said something very poignant on Sava's show the other day, and he actually agreed with me. I said, if Man City played all that beautiful football and didn't win anything, those Man City fans would be pissed off as well. They would be, because it didn't lead to any trophies. They played the most beautiful football match, but if they didn't win anything.
But we're not in a situation, Ellie, to have that privilege. But I'm sure one privilege we can have is that we could have won that Europa Cup and at least finish in the top 10. Now, I get that the top 10 don't make us any better in the season as in what we get out of it. The Cup did that. I get that. But 17th was too much for me to deal with. 17th, that our football was that poor. And I'd already written us off by we didn't get rid of him in January, that I almost went numb to the football, and that when we won the cup, I was more relieved than happy. I don't want to be in that situation. I feel a better manager last season would have finished us top 10 and got us the cup. I'd have been happy. 17th, I can't deal with that. If you can, fair play. I
Yeah,
can't.
no, I totally agree. It's so difficult, isn't it? 'Cause as a fan base, we are so starved of success and trophies. And I absolutely understand what Stal said. I'd take 17th in a trophy. Last season, the season was crap. The trophy was amazing. But Stal, would you take that every season? Because for me, that's all right for one season, maybe two at a push, maybe 15th. But if it was every year, year in, year out,
So you're
wouldn't
telling
it get a
me, would I take finishing 17th for 10 years and put 10 trophies
yeah.
in the cabinet? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. 10 trophy parades, 10 winning cup finals would be Arsenal. We'd have the record back for the
I know,
FA
but
Cup.
wouldn't it get like
Yeah.
look at
You'd love
City
it.
who won the Premier League
Have a
every
field
year?
day. I'd destroy the Gooners.
After a while,
Stefan would
wouldn't it
leave the
get a little bit
WhatsApp group.
boring? Wouldn't it get a bit
Yeah,
boring?
I would
though,
take
winning
it.
trophies, but we're
I'll
shit.
be there with you, Stan.
Right, yeah, I would
Right,
take it.
okay. Then let me put this one on a few people then. If you knew that every season we was just going to blow the league out and not bother and just go for the cup, would you actually be stupid enough to go and buy a season ticket?
Yes.
We're winning
Fair
cups.
enough. I wouldn't. Well, no, because you're buying the season ticket mainly for the league, isn't you?
I
Majority
don't
of
buy
it.
season tickets.
No, but I'm saying that is what the season ticket is
But if you
mainly
ha-
for. Obviously, you get your cups out of it as well. But I'm sorry, I'm not paying $2,000 for a fucking season ticket for the league to not even be bothered about, and that we're
I
going
pay
for a
1,000.
cup. I'm not that stupid. Okay,
I pay 1,000
1,000 then.
Yeah, but
And
Dad,
what I'll do,
I wouldn't pay
two
£2,000 even if we were good. I pay 1,000. I ain't paid $2,000 for a
Okay.
season.
people pay different money.
Really nice
But what I'll
football,
do
still
is on a
finish
cup
seventh.
game. On a cup game, I'll go and get the money for the cup game to go to one way or another if I can.
What
Yeah.
if Frank,
I ain't
right?
paying-
Frank plays.
What is the point on going to a game when you know the teams, when you know the club's already blown it
Listen
out,
to
blown
this,
the league
though.
out?
If
What's the
Frank,
point?
right? Frank plays significantly better football, and you love it, but we still finish 17th and win an FA Cup. You're still watching good football, but you
As
finish
far as I know,
17th.
then we need. And if I think he gets us relegated, then we need another new manager because 17th is just not good enough in any means or manner.
Guys, in
Even with
a
the cup
dream
to tick
world,
with.
right? In a dream world, if my perfect scenario is to have Poch back with that team playing that football, but Poch to have actually won the Premier League, to have won the FA Cup, for me,
Yeah.
that is utopia. It's like, my God, what? Everything's great,
We would have deserved it.
but unfortunately, we've absolutely fucked it. We've blown it because we aren't going to have the best ever striker partnership the Premier League has ever seen. Son and Kane are going to go down in history as the best partnership the league's ever seen, right?
Yeah.
That was the time, and they fucked it. They completely fucked it. So, unfortunately, we all want what we almost had, right? I think everyone dreams about that Poch era again, but with trophies. I think we all kind of deep down would love that. We're not going to get it. I don't think we're going to get that, guys. I'm being realistic because if you're not going to, we had a second chance to do it with Conte because Kane and Son were still firing under Conte. We had a second bite at the cherry, and we didn't want to back Conte. So why would they ever back a fucking manager? If you're not going to back a manager when you've got the talent up front to then build a team around, and if you're not going to do it with them, now we're going to do it with Richarlison and fucking Johnson. It's not happening, in my opinion. I think Levy's completely fucked everything up now, and everything he says is just to finesse the fans and to reel you in. I can't see past that, guys. Until I'm proven wrong, I can't see past it.
We did win a cup with them, but we did win a cup with those players.
Yeah, but then you complained about the league position, so he lost his job. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. The thing is, that's what I mean. There's so many different ways you can look at it and just see it different at the end of the day. I just couldn't handle the 17th. I wouldn't have been able to handle the 15th. Get me 10th, possibly push me down to 11th, and I can accept the season because I don't think it would get us relegated. I personally think he had more than enough capability to get us relegated, and that was my biggest problem out of it.
Our fan
Is
base
anything going to change? Is anything going to change? Do I think Frank can finish top 10 and win us a League Cup? Yes, I can. I was actually one of two people, or maybe three, that actually stated over you lot, and when I say you lot, I mean practically every Spurs fan, that personally, I think Ange's going to have a terrible season and finish 7th or 8th. Well, I got that wrong, definitely, because he was worse. But I personally believe he can win a cup this year. And only two people that I know actually agreed with me. If I would have said, but if I would have thought we finished 17th, no, I wouldn't have been able to handle that. I said with his tactics, even how messed up they are, you can win a cup. England got to 2 finals playing the crappiest football I have seen international teams play in a long time, but they couldn't cross the line. Fair play on Ange. He listened to his players. He changed it from 10 men in front of the ball to 10 men behind the ball, like they told him, and he won the cup. Fair play. Credit is where he's due at the end of the day. But when you add everything up together, he wasn't good enough and had to go. I feel the next manager can get us significantly better in the league, and he can also win a cup.
No, that's not true, though. That's not true.
Right? But it's
That's
true,
not
'cause that's
true.
what I believe.
No
But I believe
manager's
it
ever
can
done that, Dan. No manager's ever done that. Can't be
So
done.
I can still believe that a manager can do better than 17th and win a cup.
But I wouldn't say.
All right, and I can believe that
You can
Rainbows
finish top 6 and get
grow in my bed. I don't know.
Well, we have had a manager do better than 17th and win a cup, haven't we?
Yeah.
Dan, this fan base.
Where did he finish and win the
Ramos.
cup? What's his name?
Ramos
Where did
finished-
the
Ramos
Still, before you, still before you go with your
Mourinho got to
Yeah,
a
but I'm
cup
bringing this in
final
here.
and we were
Bringing this in.
7th, and the fans turned on him. What are we talking about?
where did what's his name? I forgot the bloody manager's name now. Ellie?
Ramos.
Right, where did Ramos finish and win us
He
a cup?
finished, I think he finished 8th.
He finished
Right,
8th.
it can be done. There you go, it can be done.
No, we can't. I said top 6. Well, 8th is nothing. You're not even in Europe.
Yeah, but maybe
Wow.
not to you, but to me, it's significantly better than doing 17th and winning a cup.
See, this is wild. We'd take
So it
8th
can
in
be
the
done.
cup, but not 17th in the cup. What's the difference?
Yeah, too fucking right.
What's the difference? You still don't get Europe through the league table.
All right, I'll take a kicking, but if I get the choice of getting my teeth kicked out or they stay in, I'll take the kicking and keep my teeth in.
It's about respect.
I don't want to kick him.
Well, we got plenty of kickings last season, didn't we? And basically got our teeth kicked out.
Yeah, I suppose it's
No,
just more.
we did
it's more
the
game.
kicking when we won the Europa Cup. We kicked all the rivals. We smashed them all.
Yeah.
Man United
That was
fans
more
were in
like-
fucking tears on the high street when we left the stadium
was
doing the
more- that was more
conga
like
coming out of the
Yeah,
Bilbao
I
Like the
like
Stadium.
punch and run at the end of it.
They were devastated because they lost them.
Guys,
And then
let's
what
ask this question. There's
happened?
2 more questions to the night. Sorry, Ellie. Sorry, you were speaking. Ellie?
I was just saying, I was in Bilbao as well, and they were devastated, those Man United fans, because they said, "Oh, lads, it's just Tottenham." Yeah, well, we showed them, didn't we? We played a Mourinho style football and beat them.
Yeah, it's
Mate,
crazy.
we were saying to the Man United fans, it's only Tottenham, lads. It's only Tottenham, lads.
Yeah, come on,
Brilliant.
right, beer
Brilliant
all
stuff.
over them.
Guys, this question, there's 2 more questions left of the evening. So this is one. What brings the fan base together? Looking ahead.
Nothing will ever bring
When
this
were the fan base
together.
together, guys? Sorry,
Oh,
just
we're-
before
we're
Dan. Sorry,
disappointed.
mate. When was the fan base together last? When would you say? Poch, probably the last time? Bit,
Pochettino.
maybe what? Pochettino, properly? No, okay, there was
Closest to
obviously
it.
the odd fans. Closest, yeah? Okay.
Poch was probably the
Imagine you
closest. I'll go with that.
Redknapp, he was pretty together.
I love Pochettino. I know he didn't win us anything, but he gave us the best football. And it was such a tragedy that we didn't win anything under him. It was criminal because we played the best football, man. I used to get up early in the morning, go down to the Spurs ground to have banter with all the old fans, all the youngsters so excited, watching beautiful football, and we didn't win anything. It was disgusting that we didn't win anything.
You were
because
happy though,
he
Ellie, weren't
deserved
you?
it. He deserved
Were you happy though in that
I was
period
very happy.
as a Spurs fan?
Yeah, of course I was happy, but I was unhappy as well that we didn't get
Yeah.
over the line.
Of course, yeah. We were. It's very frustrating, wasn't it? Because we should have won something under him, but we didn't.
That's the right word, frustrating, because we did deserve to win something. You know, they always say you get what you deserve. Well, we didn't under Poch.
I'll be honest. I don't think this fan base is ever going to be fully together. I think
agree.
that, but I do think a really good transfer window would settle some of the arguments. It's all on Levy. Levy has come out and said now. I know he says it every year. He's come out with a spiel that he wants to win the Premier League and the Champions League. Well, now's your time to prove it. And I really do feel that with all the everything that's happened over the last 12 months, certainly with the protests, if Levy fucks this up, mate, you would hope that it would be the beginning of the end. But for me, a good transfer window brings the fans closer, but I don't think we're ever going to agree on everything.
I totally agree with Nigel. One way or another, I don't think, if I'm going to be totally honest, I mean, like I say, we're one of the worst ones, if not the worst for it. But I don't think you can ever get any fan base. You're with it. You're always gonna have that prick that wants a cup of tea, not a coffee, or a cup of coffee, not a tea, sort of thing. There's always gonna be. That's just life. That ain't just football. That's everything. I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Ange was the one who just had us that close, but then also had people saying, "But he can't cross the line. We need a Conte. We need a Mourinho." Not saying them two in particular, but we needed the next level up as such. And then there was a majority of people, I would say, that was happy with it because of the football, because of this, because of that, so near yet so far. You're never ever going to get a fan base happy. We could probably finish in top 4 and win 4 FA Cup finals out of 5, and someone will still complain that we didn't win that 5th one. One way or another, you are never going to keep the world happy, so don't even bloody try.
Yeah.
So, does anyone think Frank can get the fan base back together? Any chance?
Yeah, short term he will. Short term he'll get the fans back together. Can you block that racist in the chat called LNR? The one that said Greek. The one that says Greek dick. 10:13.
Right. 10:30. I'll get rid of it.
Sorry, man. He done the same shit on my channel the other day.
Yeah.
Guys in the chat, listen. You can all have a go at me. I don't mind. I'm a big enough man. Just not the racist stuff. Just I don't get it, man. There's no need.
Don't bring
Why
the
do people have to
Nice.
bring in that? That's all it is.
I don't
is
know.
people's
I don't know.
opinions on here, and we're having our debate about it. That's all.
So
it is.
10:13, Dan. 10:13.
Yeah, I think I've seen it now.
Yeah.
I'll get rid of
People
it.
don't like the bloody debate, then don't watch the debate. If people just
No.
want echo chamber, then don't complain
I
about
don't like echo
fucking
chambers I've been hearing lately.
See what I mean, Dan? You are never going to keep everybody happy, for God's sake. Some complain it's an echo chamber. Some complain it's an argument. Some complain that it's this and that. Spurs supporters, isn't it? It's what we are, mate. Deal with it.
Did you ban him,
We are,
Dan?
mate.
Yeah.
I'm doing it now.
Cheers, mate.
Ban. Yeah, here we go.
Do you know-
He's gone.
Do you know? I had someone the other week give me some racial shit in the chat, calling me every name under the sun about my Arabic background. I'm like, I'm not even Arabic. Like, fucking hell. At least get the race right if you're gonna do me to get it right. Anyway,
No need for it.
I don't think it's possible to bring the fan base together because everyone wants a different thing, Dan. Like some fans, like me, are adamant. I just want trophies above everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I will sacrifice a lot if we can win trophies. Other fans want to be entertained. They want good football, and they'd rather that than anything else. Others, and there are some fans out there, I've spoken to them on a match day. They care so much about the financial structure of the club, that we're not like Chelsea and Man City, that we're sustainable, ethical, moral, squeaky clean. And then you've got some, as long as they can spend time with their family and their kids in the stadium and it's a day out. And I get that as well. It's a social. So you've got some that, as long as they can have their social, some that want this ethical, financially well presented club to the universe, some that just want great football, just entertain us, some just give me silverware and I don't mind about the rest. Then you've got others that want a little bit of everything, which is the hardest to do. So I think where every fan's got a different priority, it's very hard for us all to come together. The only thing, though, that I will say, in my time that I've seen bring all the fans together as one and all the arguing stops, is when we either win a trophy or when we beat Arsenal, right? Beat Arsenal, we're all as one. You can even say Chelsea, we're all as one. No one gives a shit.
Yeah,
We don't beat
true.
Chelsea, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, we don't beat Chelsea, but Arsenal, well, we don't beat them anymore either.
That is a solid point. I'll give you that one still. I'll go with you on that one. When we won the
Yeah.
cup, I would
We're
say,
unified.
I still won't say everybody, but 99.9% was happy that we won the cup. But then we had people, I'll speak for myself here, 3 or 4 days later, I'm already looking ahead for the future. The cup was done and dusted. It was over. It was finished. I'm now looking ahead for the future. We won it. Great. But then you had other people who wait a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months, 4 months, and people who will still be going on about it 9 months because they're still stuck in Bilbao. But again, it's where we're all different people and we see things different. The only time your closest get to keep people happy is pretty much the two things you said, and that is either win something, and I'll go one step further with you, beat Arsenal or Chelsea. And do that, and you'll have a majority of the fan base happy, and that's the closest we will get to it. But one way or another, you will never get everybody happy. You just can't do it. It's impossible.
And that Derby record...
But I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. I think, but, you know, if you look at the games we played in the London derbies last season, it was just dreadful, weren't it? What's it? 11 points out of all the London derbies. I mean, how does that make everyone feel? I know it's all about the trophies, but let's talk about that.
Dan, I was just above the Arsenal fans, right? And they were singing that Postecoglou song about we're a shit football team. And he's some Aussie, whatever. They really slander us, right? And they beat us 1-0 from a corner. That bloody Gabriel scored, and I had to look at his shiny teeth, right? And it's just the worst feeling in the world, losing to Arsenal. And you can see the fans in the stadium, they're expecting to lose. But really, when we go against Arsenal, we expect to beat them, don't we? We're not expecting to lose. But the last few seasons, we've been expecting to lose.
In the long run, Ellie, it's more of a... All right, let me ask you a question, Ellie, then. And I think I can ask everyone this. Right, you've got a choice next season. You do a double. Arsenal or Chelsea? What one?
Arsenal.
For me, it's Chelsea.
Straight away Arsenal, because I hate Arsenal. I don't even hate Chelsea. I don't hate them.
But see what I mean? We're even debating we're even debating on this question straight away.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's the thing I say. Whatever turns you on, don't necessarily do me. Yeah,
and I'm Arsenal are our nemesis.
And so was I. Whereas personally, I've beat
Arsenal. Why Chelsea, mate? Just interest, mate.
Why Chelsea? Because if anything, I dislike Chelsea more than I do Arsenal. I'll give you an honest thing for it, yeah? Now, I'm talking through this through football, not being narrow-minded, not being this. Arsenal, I've actually got a bit of respect in football, yeah? Not as a Spurs supporter, I can't stand them. They could have a nuclear bomb land on their ground. Well, no, because it'll wipe ours out. But you get what I mean, yeah? I couldn't care less.
You know what I mean?
But my point is, Arsenal actually got where they got in a respectable football manner. Chelsea got there because they had the sugar daddy come in and give them everything. And that's what's harder for me to take. I can respect Man United and Liverpool more than I can Man City. Yeah, Man U and Liverpool throw the money about, but they've earned their way to the top to be able to do that. They didn't just have the sugar daddy come in, go bang and have it all on the plate, basically, yeah? So I can respect, as football, I can respect Arsenal. I can respect Man U. I can respect Liverpool. I can respect other teams. Chelsea, I cannot respect them, or Man City, because they basically got the sugar daddy. All right, they've done the right stuff with it. So for me, personal opinion again, I'd rather do the double over Chelsea, plus we hardly ever bloody beat them anyway. So I'd rather go a season and do a double over Chelsea than Arsenal. But that's just my opinion on the whole thing. It's an opinion.
Yeah. Get that. Fair enough. Anyone else on the old Arsenal-Chelsea?
I'll be honest, probably Chelsea, but I don't really overly care. Maybe it's because I'm not a Londoner. You know, I live on the other side of the country, so I want to win every game. Every game's the same to me. I just want to win it. Obviously, the North London derby's a bit bigger, but yeah, probably Chelsea just because just don't like them. They just, you know, I grew up in a time when Chelsea was shit. You know, club. They had a crap ground, and you know, they didn't even have fans behind the goals. You know, they were awful side, and suddenly they're this big juggernaut, and yeah. So I'm just not a Chelsea fan. Plus, my mate works for Chelsea as well, so it's always nice to wind him up. But don't get to do it very often.
It's that thing, Nigel, isn't it? Of we all know Arsenal are a bunch of pricks, but Chelsea will see you next Tuesday. That's how it is for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is funny, right? Because Arsenal, I hate them because of the club, but Chelsea, I hate them because of their fans. I despise Chelsea fans. I think they're horrendous. They're a horrific bunch of fans. Whereas Arsenal fans, as much as we call them the scum. I've got a lot of family and friends who are Arsenal, and they're good people, So it's difficult. It's more of a rivalry, like a North London rivalry with them. Whereas Chelsea, I despise them. Having said that, I'd much rather lose to Chelsea in a cup final over Arsenal. I fucking would despise losing to Arsenal over Chelsea in a cup final. Nothing would give me more joy than beating Arsenal in a cup final. I don't think I could be any happier.
I'll step back on that one, and I'll go on a cup final.
I mean, we've lost to Chelsea in cup finals already, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's done and dusted, and they beat us most of the time anyway. I agree with you on that one, still. On the last bit, I'll agree with you on that one.
Twice in the cup final.
But in the league, give me a double in the league. It's Chelsea.
I get your point. I would hate to lose to Arsenal in the cup final.
Yeah, cup final, then I'm with Stell on that one. But in the league, I want to do Chelsea.
I get your point about respecting Arsenal, but I just don't like them. Because if you go back in the day, if you look back...
I don't respect them, Ellie. I don't respect them. I've just got friends that are Gooners, and they're all right. They're my mates.
No, I mean, what Dan said, he said he gives them
respect. A bit rough and ragged around the edges.
If you go back, into our history, if you really go back into our history, they did the dirty on us by their chairman going round all the top division chairmen and getting...
Oh, when they got promoted and we got demoted.
Yeah, we got demoted, and then they came into our area.
I heard about this. Graham told me the story.
Yeah, they came into our area. They took our thunder, right? And then they had the audacity to come to North London from Woolwich.
Woolwich is a shithole, mate. But at the end of it, from a football side, try and forget. I mean, again, it's another thing you can't really forget it because it's already happened and you are what you are, sort of thing. Same as I can't give an honest answer on last season, what I'd say at the end, because I know what happens. But from a football perspective, who can you actually have more respect for? Forget the fact of who you despise, who you hate, this and that. As a football club, I can have more respect for Arsenal than Chelsea.
They are.
They deserve.
They're more respectful.
They've earned their respect, whether we like it or not. They've earned their respect.
Yeah, they're not cheats. They're not.
They're not cheats.
Yeah,
no.
That's basically where I come from.
I think 3-4 says it perfectly in the chat. Is the ode, I hate the Woolwich because I'm Tottenham. I hate Chelsea because I'm human.
Well said.
That's it.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Well said.
Do you know what, guys? My mum's an Arsenal fan. My mum is an Arsenal fan.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh no.
My granddad.
She raised a good lad. She raised a good boy.
My dad.
So why did you support Spurs then? Was that to just be a disrespectful?
My dad supported Spurs.
Fair enough.
I went with Spurs.
Oh mate, that was
it's
Mum and a dad Spurs and Arsenal.
Mate, my old man's Chelsea. You know that.
Chelsea
my old man's Chelsea.
To my family.
Yeah, that's Chelsea. I've had 20 years of abuse, mate. I've had 20 years of abuse. You have no idea.
No, my parents hated football, so.
I mean, that question for me would be Arsenal, double over Arsenal. I hate Chelsea, but Arsenal. Yeah.
Well done.
Always Arsenal.
You could rib your mum.
Yeah,
I could definitely go with. I would rather lose to Chelsea in the cup final than Arsenal, but a double, I'd still.
That's naughty. That is naughty, Ellie.
Stop it.
Brilliant stuff. Oh, guys. Anybody else got anything else to give tonight? Anybody else want to make any points? Anything before we shut up shop? I'm going to hold back on the predictions for next season until we see the transfer window, because it's really difficult, isn't it? Really, we don't know what's going to happen. We can talk about it, but I mean, look, what about let's do early predictions for next season, and then we'll shut down the show tonight. Everybody in the chat, everyone on the panel, predictions, minimum, what do you expect? I don't know. Nige, go for it, mate.
17th in a cup. No, I think top 10, top 10, maybe 9. I'll go for 9th in a cup. Early doors.
Yeah. The thing is,
Anyone
if you
else?
get 7th, you're getting Conference League. I don't want Conference League. So I'll go
Nice
8th
trophy
for
to
the
win.
Is that acceptable trophy to
cup.
win? Conference
Any
League,
cup.
guys, just quickly. Is that acceptable trophy
First
to win?
one
Does that
to win.
count as a trophy?
It's the bare minimum, innit? It's the absolute scraping the barrel. You take it, but it is the bare minimum. Let's have it right. You would take
And
it.
in
You
the
would.
Cup and the League Cup, you have to win
We'd
the
watch
same
the
amount,
final
right?
and we'd go to it. We would.
Would you take 17th from that?
I would, yeah, because I just want trophies.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't.
Most fans wouldn't, though. Most fans wouldn't. I would.
No.
I was angry when Conte mugged it off, when we fucking pissed around with Rennes and all that lot. I was livid that we just... And people were calling it the Checker Trade Cup. That wound me up. They're calling it the Checker Trade.
Yeah.
It's not respected at all, is it, that cup? Not respected at all.
No.
No one gave
But
two shits.
They should do away with it. It's silly.
Who
Just do
respected
away
the
with that
Europa
stupid
Cup?
competition.
Until the Europa Cup had the league, the Champions League winning bit at the end of it, not many actually respected it.
Not
Yeah,
British
you had
side.
the odd team that did. Not many teams did.
Yeah,
Not
but
many teams would put the priority into it because it had no Champions League on the end of it. They would have blown that out to get in their top 4 or whatever. The thing that has saved the Europa Cup is the fact that it's got Champions League at the end of it.
Yeah, but Dan, right? I've said this so many times, right? The European Cup was for the top team from each country. Yeah,
You're
right.
right.
That was the proper Champions League.
Yeah.
The Champions League is the UEFA Cup because
It's about money now.
yeah, it's about money. The Champions League is not really the Champions League because four or five of the teams from each country go into it, and it's the UEFA Cup. So the Europa Cup really is the Conference League, and the Conference
Type used to
League
be the one.
is the Tin Pot Cup. It is the Champions League is the Europa Cup,
But the only reason a majority,
but with the champions in it from each
but the only
country.
reason, Ellie, in my opinion, I think I can even state this close to a fact, but as close to a fact as you're gonna, but opinion. The only reason that a majority of teams would even give a shit about the Europa Cup is because it's their only way into the Champions League usually.
Yeah, it's a really
you've
good prize to win now.
Of course it is, because there's a big prize at the end of it.
The money.
When there was no getting into the Champions League with it, yes, there was teams that did care about it, like Seville and stuff like that, because they couldn't get in the top 4 and they knew it anyway.
Yeah.
But other teams that knew they could fight for a
Villarreal.
Champions League place, other teams that knew they could fight for a top 4 place and stood a chance of it, would blow that Europa Cup out all day long because there was nothing really at the end of it apart from a couple of mil. So that is why they put the Champions League on the Europa Cup, to make it worth playing, to make it for teams want to play it. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and you watch, right? If we go out of the Champions League early, the FA Cup and the League Cup get you a European spot. And all the eggs are going to be put in that basket. Because then if you win the Europa League, you get back into the Champions League.
Ellie, Frank will get sacked if he puts all his eggs in that basket.
He could do, yeah. Of course he could. But if
this man at this gentleman will sack him.
That's what he cares about.
I still think if Ange would have finished, let's say, top 10 and won that Europa Cup, I don't think he'd have got the sack, and I don't think so many fans would have turned on him.
Well, when you think about it, in a way, it's good that you finish 17 because I don't think many people liked his football. Even you, Stel, you didn't like his football, did you?
Ange's?
Yeah.
It's horrendous.
Shit.
It's shit, isn't it? Shit style of football. Rubbish to watch.
When it clicks, it's dynamite, but it didn't click enough, nowhere near enough.
10,
I
15
prefer Conte's
minutes.
football.
Like
I never
Chelsea.
wanted Conte out.
Remember
I
the
still
game
don't
we lost?
understand that.
You know, remember the game we played Chelsea and we went 2-0 up, but Sonny's goal was disallowed, wasn't it? And we ended up losing the game. Was it
4-3?
4-3. Yeah. I mean, that first 15 minutes was electric, but we couldn't sustain it.
Do you know what? One thing I always said, and I said it a lot to Sava, and he disagreed, and I was adamant. Ange's system, I get it. It can work, and it can be brilliant. But you need to sign such high-quality players to perform. Because if you lose the ball, you're in trouble. So you need players whose ball retention is top of their game. And you need a front three that put away the chances, because you're going to concede, which means you've got to score at least 2 or 3 a game. So you need the finishers. What Ange wanted to do, I get it. But the players he was using, it was never going to work. It wasn't. They're not good enough. Not good enough.
I don't think his style is possible in the league. I don't think he... I said this many a time, and you're still Dan, Ellie...
Every week, Dan, you're right. Every week, you're right. You can't do that every single game. You can't.
Give him the best team in the world. Give him the best team in the world. He still would not win a big league. Why? Because there will just be them times where he concedes them goals where other people wouldn't, because his defending tactics were just abysmal, is an understatement. And you cannot win a season with you play 3, we score 4. I think the closest I've seen to someone doing that was when Newcastle tried that, basically, and it backfired on them in the end. You can't do it. Not in a league like the Premier League, not in a Europa League, not in the Spanish League, not in the La Liga, not in the Serie A. You just can't do that. It won't work. Not over 38 games.
Yeah, you got
give him Maldini and Nesta in defence with Cafu and that, and Lilian Thuram, whatever. He would still. He still ain't doing it.
It's when you lose the ball.
Just a question here, Billy, Dan. How does Hansi Flick play with Barcelona then? He still defends better than Ange.
But they were very wide open against Inter Milan.
Oh, Inter caught them on a counter-attack. That's how Inter done by sitting back and countering.
Barcelona
will push you.
They played that game brilliantly, Inter Milan.
Barcelona are always open. The thing is, they've got so many killers in the team that can put the ball in the back of the net. They cover it all up. I remember they played in the Champions League, and it was like the Wild West watching that play. God knows how many goals they conceded and scored. It was mental, but they've got such an elite attacking array of talent. They can do it, but
they still also know how to defend.
And they're going to win more than they lose.
They're suspect at the back, then I think. Barca is suspect.
I know, but they still defend, whereas we didn't even defend. It's very rare.
They defend
with just one man.
They defend by keeping possession of the ball. That's how they defend. Yeah. They're very good at it. I get it. Mind blowing.
They were very.
We tried to be like that, but then when Ben Davies is laying it off to fucking Pape Sarr, and Pape Sarr's trying to feed in Johnson, it goes to shit. The whole thing, and then you got Richarlison chasing.
Oh no!
I mean,
total shit.
They've got Yamal, we've got Pigeon.
Yeah. Well, at least we can say we got the Brazilian striker.
Do you know what? There's a guy called Psycho Teacher. Have you ever seen him in the chat?
Yeah, spoke to him plenty of times.
Half Japanese, right? Half Brazilian. I remember I was on a show with him once, and he goes, "What did I do wrong in life for my international team to have Richarlison and Jesus up front?" I was like,
Jesus, at least he's got a little bit about him. When he was at Man City, he was half decent.
Ellie, he's always injured. He don't play. I think he's played 2 games.
But when he's fit, he's not too bad a player. He's all right. He's not Richarlison's level.
Imagine going from Adriano, Ronaldo, Bebeto, Romario, Rivaldo to Richarlison.
Ronaldo.
We think as a Spurs fans that we've been unlucky with strikers. No.
I mean, Ellie, with that one, with Jesus, it comes down to having a good manager again, knowing when to play certain players and when not to. Why did he always start Jesus against Liverpool without fail unless he was injured? Because it was the type of player he needed to play the way he wanted to play against Liverpool. That is a good manager that can do that.
Yeah, Pep's a master manager, isn't he?
I'd like to. I want to see what Frank does with this midfield, because I don't rate our midfield. I really don't.
No,
rate
nor do I.
I want to see what he does with the midfield.
Did we all
think
give predictions, guys? Sorry, Dan. Go for it, mate.
That's all. I think it's what I've been saying for the past year. He sorts that formation out. I mean, if you even go and say the formation as a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-1-2, it already looks and sounds better than the way Angel's doing it. Playing free at the back, getting the players in their right bloody positions. If we play with wing backs or left wing or right wing, we can use Porro and Adogi to what they're actually bloody good at. But I agree, in centre mid is a must that we need to improve. Whether it's defensive, whether it's box to box, whether it's what we need a centre mid there that can boss that midfield.
Well, they're talking about bringing one in, aren't they? There is, don't know how much truth it is, but they're looking, they're monitoring.
We need to.
A lot of Spurs fans wouldn't accept Harvey Elliott, but then they're still sit here and debate. They're still sit here and debate that we should be giving Solomon and Archie Gray a go.
No,
But they wouldn't have Harvey Elliott.
Come on.
People are saying we shouldn't be going for Kudus. No way, he didn't have the
What
best
guys?
of
What about
seasons last
Kudus,
season.
guys? At the end of the day, guys, what's your thoughts on Kudus?
He's better than what we've got.
Significantly
what we
better
got,
than
yeah.
what
He's
we've got.
better than what we've got.
And he's actually a winger, in my opinion. He's more
he's a
of a
very good
winger than an
player.
inside forward.
He was a very good player, but playing in a very bad team, West Ham. So now he's coming to a team that's finished badly, finishing 17th. But we're not. If you look at our squad, it's not as bad as some people paint it. We've got some good players, technical players. They just didn't perform last season, and then the way we played, it tired them out. And when you're tired, you make mistakes. Yeah, because when you're making 50, 60-yard dashes, mentally and physically, your brain does switch off sometimes. And saw that a lot last season. They just gave up because I don't think they believed in the football for starters. But we've got some decent players. We just got to add that extra quality. And Kudos is better than what we've got. 100%.
You get an average team or a good team, but you get everyone playing in the right position to the right formation to what they are best at. You can make them a very good team. You go and get a brilliant team and you go and start playing the majority of players out of position or out of sync and not to what they're best at, you can make them a bang average team. I've seen both happen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
How good is he, do you reckon, guys? Do you rate him? How highly do you highly rate this player?
It's really inconsistent for me.
Inconsistent.
Typical Spurs player. I think he'd come in, he'd have some good games, and they'd be like, "Oh, this guy's brilliant," and then he'd go missing for 5 or 6 games. So for me, he's good. He's better than anything we got, but for me, still just inconsistent. Doesn't wow me. Out of all the players we've been linked with, he's the one player I'm just like, I'm not sure about. But he might
I'll
be
take
brilliant.
Bremo in front of him. I'd take him Bremo in front of him. I agree with that.
Mate,
But-
I'd take Matoma. For me, Matoma's such a good wide player. I think he's a really good player. I think he's so underrated.
Even him, he wasn't getting into the Brighton team all the time, and I was just thinking, why? Why ain't they playing him from the start? They're like resting him, rotation. I don't know, but there was times when I looked at the Brighton team and he's not in the first. He's on the bench, and I'm thinking he's one of their best players, and he's on the bench.
Did he have some injury problems, Ellie? Do you know?
I don't know. Well, if he did, why is he on the bench if he's got an injury?
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? He didn't do too much last season. I mean, he destroyed us, didn't he? When we played us, I think he ran all over us at their ground.
Very true.
He's
actually a winger, and we haven't. The only winger we actually have is Solomon. The rest of them are inside forwards. The next closest thing we got to a winger is someone playing as a wing-back winger sort of thing with Porro Doji. And Kudus, he's actually a winger for me, not an inside forward. Go and take
right or left, guys.
Forward.
Where's he play? Right or left? I heard he's done better on the right. Is that right? Not this season for West Ham. The season before, he got like 20 goals or 20 goals and assists or something like that.
He can play both sides as far as I know.
I'll tell you what his stats were. I don't think they were good.
Yeah, honestly, I would take Matoma from Brighton. I'd take Pedro from Brighton. I'd take Beleba from Brighton. Mm-hmm. All of those 3 players would walk into Spurs' starting 11 all day long. All of them.
Yeah.
Pedro's gone to Chelsea, hasn't he?
Who's gone Chelsea, Nige?
Pedro.
Yeah, of
João
course he has.
Pedro. Yeah, he's
Yeah, of course he has.
from Chelsea.
They've signed two strikers already, haven't they?
Mate, I would have taken Delap. I would have taken Delap at Spurs.
Yep.
So,
I would have taken him.
yeah, he's
I
got.
don't think we're going to sign a striker, guys. I don't think Spurs are signing a striker. I don't think that's something on the radar.
So it's Richie and Solanke next season.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've got a funny
Spurs
feeling we could do a 3-4-1-2 or a 3-4 or a 3-5-2. I'm not saying it's ideal or what I want, but I wouldn't say no to see if we're not going to buy a striker. I wouldn't say no to seeing two up front and seeing Johnson and Solanke up front as a bit of a poor man's Heskey and Owen.
Johnson's better as a forward than what he is a wide player. That's where he played at Nottingham Forest.
And I reckon you go and put him and Solanke next to each other, you might actually get something to click there. I'm not saying it'll be special or nothing, but I think them two could actually work well as a team.
Mate, I'd take Anderson as well from Nottingham Forest.
Oh
Players
my
like that.
God, he was fantastic in the Euros as well. He's a very good player. Well, kudos his stats. He's played 65 games in the Premier League, scoring 13 and assisting 12. That's his Premier League stats.
Yeah, but Ellie, I think he goes back to what you said. Ellie, he's a good player that's in a shit situation, shit club, shit team. I think Kudus in a more expansive team will do a lot more damage than what.
Yeah. Kudus step into a shitter team because we finished 17th.
But we've got a coach now, so he can be coached. Sorry. That's my answer to any argument. Yeah, but we've got a coach now. That's anything you say. If you complain about the grass, I'm going to say but we've got a coach.
If you give me two midfielders, we can have. I mean, I'd take them both personally out of Atalanta. I'd go for Ederson. He's one who I think we could definitely go for, but then would others go for him? Time will tell.
I love Ederson
because they are in big trouble in Italy when it comes to money. Even Inter Milan are in trouble. And the other one I'd like is that, what's his name? Di Kettelera or whatever, the Belgian fella from there who can play centre mid and attacking midfield and also is a bit of a playmaker. I'd like him as well. Di Kettelera, is it? I can't pronounce his bloody name.
Dan, this is
Atalanta.
Dan, see, this goes back to what we were chatting about earlier on. There's lots of good players in world football that start for Spurs, and we aren't approaching them. We're not trying to get them in, or we're pulling out of deals, or we don't want to get into a bidding war. So we end up with Tell, Davies again, random guy from the Japanese league, random kid from wherever he's come from. Oliver, what's his name? Boast. What are we doing? And when people say, "Oh, don't panic," the window's there. He is, new centre back. Right?
Isn't that what people have been asking us to do, though? I mean, I know it's not what I want for the first team, but when other teams go out and spend 5 million on a young player and then go and put him out on loan for 2 years and then he comes back and he's good, we complain that we don't bloody do that. The fact that he's 5 million, get on with it. When we go and spend 40 million on a bloody Archie Gray, then I've got an issue.
No, my issue with this is that you've got Romero, Van der Ven, Dragusin, Ashley Phillips, you've signed Danzo, you've given Ben Davies a new contract. What are you doing? Vuskovic, what are we doing? There's no sense in it. It just feels like money. It's like when we signed Kinski. I remember we signed Kinski and fans were like, "Oh yeah, this is good." And I said, how is it good? You've got Brandon Austin. What's the point? There's got to be, I don't, if we signed him, Dan, before we signed a Danzo and a Dragusin, I'd say, all right, maybe it's one of those punty ones. But we've done it after we brought others in, so I don't get it. I'm worried we're wasting our budget now on players that we should be bringing in, and we're going to end up either desperate to sell players to bring in some good ones, or we're going to be left short again.
And guys, another question: have we got money or we not got money?
Oh, we've got money. We've fucking got money, mate.
But the reports that you hear that it's just so, I don't know. I'm not great with the finances, but they have money. The club have got money. I mean, you know, ENIC have got money, but they won't invest their own money, right? So they're just kind of make, you know, they're just spending what they make or whatever, their sponsorships, stadium.
Dan, we've just spent 40 million pounds already. We've just spent 40 million already. That is money.
Yeah, but is that going to be the marquee? You know, this is what I mean. It's just such a worry, isn't it? Like, you know, what are we going to do?
We are the, 7th biggest spenders in Europe at the minute. It's just, I personally think they was already bought, same as Tell. I think the job was already done.
Anyway,
before Frank had anything to do with it. It was down to Tell on whether he would just stay for the loan or whether he was willing to sign at the end of the season. Was
that in the last financial year or this financial year?
Last financial year. That was last financial year. New financial year started today.
Right.
Anyway, it's not how much money we've got; it's how we spend it. We don't spend it well.
Also, guys, it's timing, right? I know for a fact QPR offered Eze to us because Chris Ramsey was the academy director at the time at QPR. He progressed Eze, and when he was doing well there, Chris Ramsey still got good ties with our club. He told our club, have a look at this guy. We didn't bother. He went to Crystal Palace, so we missed the cheap boat. Last season, if we really, really, really wanted Eze last summer, we could have got him. If we really wanted him, we didn't do it. So now that Eze's reputation has increased, he's won a cup, and everyone's talking about him, he's playing for England, Eze's got choices now. So if you say to him, Eze, City, Arsenal, Tottenham, we're out the equation. So our timing has pushed us out of the equation. Last season, we could have got him, guys. We could have got him 2 years before that. So we wasn't this the same case with Jack Grealish? Wasn't there a similar story with Jack Grealish?
5 million,
$5 million
offer. I wish I was Spurs' scout at that time because my husband supports QPR and I used to go to a lot of QPR matches with my husband, and I saw Eze, and he was leaps ahead of all the QPR players. You could see it. Chris Ramsey, he offered them to us. We didn't take it. What idiots! What idiots!
I just don't go along with this no money crap. It's just I'm not falling for it. It's what club in the world now when they buy a player just be like 60 million. All right, there you go. There's 60 million. Everything's structured. So even if we didn't have masses of money, we could still afford to buy players on structured deals. So I don't
like you pay 20 million down and the other 40 million over 5 years. That's what clubs do. They always do it. That's why they give 7-year contracts as well now.
I think the issue with Eze at the moment is, guys, that he's got better options than us. There's better options on the table, and we just can't compete with that. And do you know what? If Liverpool came in for him over us, I'd expect him to go Liverpool. There's certain teams we're not going to compete with, right? But we could have got him before this, and that's where we've screwed it up. Like Mbeumo right now, I honestly believe if we were prepared to pay the wages with Thomas Frank as our manager as well and Champions League, him having coached Mbeumo would be at Spurs. I fully believe the reason Mbeumo's not at Tottenham is because of wages only. That is the biggest factor.
I can go with that. I mean, the fact that Man U are Man U at the end of the day will have that pull for a bit longer, but I'm with you on that one. Where he knows him, he's never been in the Champions League as well. And how old is he now? 26, 27?
24. He's only 24.
Right. Oh, I'm thinking of Eze.
Is he really 24 already?
Yeah, he's 24.
Is he? I thought he was older than that, but Eze's about 27, isn't he?
He looks older, but he isn't.
All right, he's 25. He's 26 in August. He's 26 in August.
He's another one of those players that he's getting right into his career now, but he's still never seen Champions League. Same as Eze. Same as a couple of other players, There's a couple of players that Champions League will definitely push them to that side. And also the manager as well. But then I'm still a firm believer that there's a lot more mercenaries out there than people. I think it works both ways. I'm agreeing with you, but I think there's more than one side to it.
Do you know what's quite revealing about Mbeumo, right? He was born in France, in Avallon in France, but he chose to play for his Cameroon. because he's Cameroon French. So he doesn't, at that stage where he's decided where he's going to go, either for France, did he have a chance to play for France? With all their fabulous players, he went for Cameroon instead. So what? If I'm with you still, if we made the wages up, if we give him just as good as wages as Man United, we could have got him.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because of Frank. Because Frank is his ex-manager. Frank's worked with him. Frank got the best out of him. And Spurs would definitely be... Listen, maybe he likes Man United as well. Maybe he wants to go Man United.
He's a Man U supporter.
He's a Man U supporter, but a lot of players go to clubs that they don't support.
Dennis Bergkamp was a Spurs fan. Glenn Hoddle was his idol, right?
Yeah.
So he went there because they were better than us. If Frank picks up the phone to Mbeumo and says, listen, I'm going to match your wages. I've spoken to the chairman. We can do it. I want you here. I'm going to take you to the next level. We've had a great time together already. You deserve Champions League football, mate. Not a club that's maybe going to do better next year. You're playing Champions League football with me in my team. I think he gets it over the line. I think it makes it happen.
I think it's got a pulling effect. I do agree with that. I do think it has got a pulling effect on it. And plus, he goes to Spurs. He is the star player, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas he goes to Man U, he's not necessarily the star player because the club's that bloody big. There's definitely a couple of sides you can look at this. I can go with your side on that one. That I think if we did match the wages on that one, we would definitely stand a significantly better chance of getting.
Yeah.
So was this the same with Eze, guys? Then why did we not get an Eze because he's got wages again? Is it
we can't get Eze now because there's better clubs out for him.
Yeah. Significant.
And the wages.
Arsenal and Man City are a much better pool than us.
Yeah.
Who would you rather go and play for? With all due respect to Frank, Pep Guardiola or Frank? I think every player wants to play for Pep.
You're going to pick Pep.
You're picking Pep,
because he wins. He's a winner.
You know what? On an honest point of view, I can only look at it from my side. If I've got a choice of going to a club, okay, I know it's going to win things, but I know I'm going to be. I mean, if Eze goes to Man City, he ain't standing out, in my opinion. Yeah, he's a sub player. That's my opinion. Yeah, to Man City standards. To Spurs, he walks into that team and he's the first player picked every time, and he's the star player. And okay, maybe there's a chance he can do something, or even use it as a stepping stone over 2 years, and then go to a massive club. It depends what the actual player wants. Some players are happy
Arsenal,
to go to
Dan. Do you think he walks into Arsenal's team, Eze?
I don't think he walks into it, but I think he can get into it. I think he has to fight significantly harder for Arsenal's team than he does ours. I'm not saying he don't get into it, but I think he's got to fight harder for it. Whereas Spurs, he don't even have to go training, and he gets in that team, basically.
He plays on the left, doesn't he? So he'll be on Martinelli's side. So he's getting in over Martinelli 100%.
He plays on the left, but he's more of a centre, isn't he?
Martinelli, he's nothing on the Eze.
He's a better player now.
He's a better player all round. It's class.
It all depends what a player wants.
Different
at the
players.
End of the day.
Who's this? Eze?
I mean,
Eze and Odegaard.
Eze can play in 2 or 3 positions, can't he?
Yeah, he can play centre mid, attacking mid, and left.
I think Eze.
Eze.
I think he's a fantastic football player, man.
Do
you know what? When Crystal Palace played Arsenal at the Emirates this season, I know Arsenal won, but everyone was talking about Eze. If he was in a better team, they would have won that. Eze was ripping them to pieces, man.
He destroyed us.
He destroyed us, yeah. Go watch the semi-final at Wembley against Aston Villa. Villa are no mugs, battered them. Eze is a top player, man. And you know what? To be fair, he was a top player when he was playing with Elise at Crystal Palace as well. They were both star boys, both of them.
Yeah.
They both.
I'd love Eze at Spurs, man. I'd love an Eze at Spurs.
It's not happening, though, is it? It's not happening.
No. Mateus Tell's the man. You wait. He's 35 fucking million on a player that's done nothing. I can't believe it. What a punt, mate! This is the biggest gamble. I can't
Just
remember
wait
a bigger
couple of
gamble
years
than
now.
this.
Be fine. Couple
And,
of years
and this
time, he's
could-
going to be the man.
Yeah.
Who?
Okay,
Tell.
out of question then. Who do you think's the bigger mess up? Getting Tell or getting Archie Gray?
Oh,
Jesus
I
Christ.
think it Tell.
I think Tell.
Yeah.
I think there's
just
more
don't- I
chance.
just don't
Archie
understand it.
Gray's got a little bit more about him.
I think there's more chance of a coach like Frank being able to get something. I'm not saying special, get something out of Tell. Whereas I think Archie Gray is just why. The fact that we're even talking about that we need to put him on loan because he just is not good enough as a right back, a centre back, and sure as hell ain't good enough as a centre mid for 40 bloody million. Tell, I think something more can be made of him than Archie Gray. I'm not saying either of them are a good buy, but I would rather Tell over
Hey.
Archie Gray.
I can
We
see
paid
more
40
in
million for
Archie
Archie
though.
Gray, and we
Mhm.
could have Harvey Elliott for 40 million.
Yeah.
And people say Harvey Elliott ain't good enough for bloody Spurs.
Well,
who says that,
saying
Dan?
that.
Who said
Who's
that? He's
saying
not
this?
good enough for Spurs.
When I've spoke about it on here, and when I've spoke with Sava about it on here, and a couple of others, you'd be surprised how many people in the chat turn around and say Harvey Elliott ain't good enough. I don't want him. The worst one was me and Sava debating 5 players that we went through and picked out together that cost the same money or less than Archie Gray and less on wages. And literally every player we went through, a lot of people said Locatelli wasn't good enough and Archie Gray was a better buy than Locatelli, for God's sake.
Do you know why I say not wanting Locatelli is ridiculous? Whoever said that. The reason I say Gray
said it.
Yeah, this is fucking mad. The reason I say Gray, I prefer Gray over Tell, is because Gray only played in his actual position twice. Once was at Anfield, which was fucking what a debut to put him in the 6. That was suicide. And the other time he didn't do that well, right? So he's had 2 chances. Whereas Mateus Tell, he played for 4 months across the front 3, and I didn't see anything, man. Like I just didn't. I just don't get it. I don't see what everyone else sees at the moment. Maybe I'm wrong, but his crossing is nothing special. His finishing is almost non-existent. His taking on of a player weak, always gets pushed off the ball. So I don't see it with him. So if I saw Gray for 3 months in the 6, then I'd tell you what I think, whether Tell or Gray. That's the only, because for most of Gray's time at Spurs, he played at centre back and left back or right back, whatever. That's not him.
But the fact that he hasn't seen his centre mid position for a year and a half, maybe longer, just about says it all, doesn't it?
Well, this is why I questioned why we signed him.
Didn't Frank want to sign Gray? Didn't Frank want to sign Gray when he was at Brentford? I'm sure.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. But that's 2 different levels. Brentford and Spurs, you'd expect he doesn't have the same sort of choices, but then he's getting players like Tell as well. But I think Tell is one, there's more of a chance of making something out of him than Archie Gray.
I'll tell you one player we've been linked with. You know that Hayden Hackney?
Oh yeah, Middlesbrough.
He's decent.
He's actually a good player, you know. He's actually a good player.
I haven't seen him play. I've heard of him, but I haven't seen him play. So
I haven't either. So I've had Wayne, who is a Leicester fan, who knows the Championship well. He's been on my case about him. So I did a bit of a call around, and then I had a bit of a look from what I can. Mate, he's a player. He's actually a player. That's a punt that's worth taking. I'm not saying it will work, but that's a punt worth taking.
How much still?
Well, look, when Spurs make a punt, it's anything between 25 to 40 million, right? So it's going to be somewhere in that bracket.
But you know, you said punt. What would you be? Okay, it's a punt. This much, 5 to 10 million, 15 million. What?
He's better than Gray and Tell. He's better than both of them. I'm telling you. He's not. Honestly, he's one of those players that either comes to the big league and you think, or he really takes off. He's on that cusp. You don't know where it's going to go, but when you watch, he's a player. He's actually a footballer.
He's 23.
I haven't seen him play.
He's not that young then,
Not
is he?
once.
23. Why hasn't no one taken him so far?
Not every Championship player gets bought at a teenage year, you know. Some Championship players don't ever play in the Premier League unless their club gets promoted, and then they get picked off by the bigger clubs once they're in the Premier League. So I don't know, man. Look. I'm not saying we should sign him, right? I'm just saying
the scouting's got to be better, hasn't it?
He looks good.
Scouting has got to be so much better, right? The scouting. That's where we're going wrong.
Well, we've been scouting him, apparently. We have been looking at him. It says it here.
Dan, can I say something? Go on, Ellie. Go on.
It says here, the likes of Crystal Palace, Forest, Sunderland, Spurs and Man United have been sending out scouts to watch him in the last 6 months.
Listen, Wayne told me about him first, right? In fact, there he is. Look, Wayne's in the chat. Right? Wayne, when it comes to Championship players, his record's good. He told us Maddison will be injured a lot. He told us Archie Gray isn't what you lot think he is. He rates this boy. I've done my little bit of homework since I spoke to Wayne. I think Wayne's right. I think it's a punt worth taking if we're going to take a punt. I'd rather not take a punt. I'd rather get the finished product.
I'd rather go with Harvey Elliott.
Harvey Elliott's Premier League proven, isn't he? Harvey Elliott's Premier League proven.
I've seen people turn around and say that he's not good enough for Liverpool's first team, so why should he be good enough for Spurs' first team?
Oh, come on. That's stupid, isn't it?
When we haven't even got a midfielder, bar maybe Maddison, who would even get on their subs bench, for God's sake, let alone in their first team at any time.
He's there. He wants to move abroad, doesn't he? He said, I've heard he wants to move. He wants first team football. He's there if you want him.
He'd get that at Spurs, though, wouldn't he? And Champions League football as well. I think it's a no-brainer. I think we should be going for Harvey Elliott.
Yeah.
I mean, with the standards of player we go for, look, with the size of the club, money we know we've got, this and that and everything else, we should be going for bigger, better. But at the end of the day, we don't. And we all know how Levy works, no matter how many debates we have and whatever. And we all know the sort of money we spend and everything else and what we spend it on and that. Harvey Elliott, for me, ticks all the boxes. Same as why getting in a Frank in as a manager ticks the boxes for me in the aspect of Levy ain't changing. But I think Frankie's a better manager who can deal with the cards that is thrown at him and play in Levy's world as such than Ange or quite a few other managers could. Same as I think Harvey Elliott matches better than a lot what we'd look for, but matches the system that Spurs look for, basically. Yes, we should be doing this and that, but should and what you do are two different things. And I think they both match the system that Levy plays, basically.
Yeah, and Hayden Hackney is totally different from Harvey Elliott. He's more of a box-to-box midfielder, but his main thing is to break up play and move the ball. He's not really like Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott's on the front foot. He's more of an attacking midfielder.
What, more of a forward eight sort of thing?
Yeah, he's more of a forward. Yeah, because you see him playing for England the other day. He was brilliant. He's an attacking midfielder. But I think Liverpool, they sort of chopped and changed with him. They're not quite sure, are they, about him?
Well, no, Ellie, they've just gone and bought a bloody centre mid for like 1.16 million. So he's just gone further down the table, basically. So if he wants to see consistent football, he's got to go somewhere else. If he's happy with just being on a subs bench here and there and winning things, then he stays at Liverpool. This is what I said earlier about a player's mentality, wasn't it? If he wants to get significant games and play consistently, because he's not going to stay in that England team playing 15 games a season and coming on as a sub and this and that with Liverpool. He needs consistent football. And again, some players would be happy with that. Other players, like him by the sound of it, want consistent football.
Yeah.
Guys, shall I throw in one more question to end the night? Right, one more question, yeah. Let's just one more, and then we'll do. Let's do it. Yeah, I've got one for you guys. Let me find it for you. Where is it now? How far are we? How many players?
Challenging for what? Top
Just
4.
challenging the top teams at that end of the league, competing with them.
Oh my God.
How many players are away? This current squad, how many players are we away from that? With a, Frank coaching, whatever system, time.
We need an entire new front line. The front three is an abomination. One of the worst I've ever seen at Spurs in 3 decades. I've never seen a front three this tragic. Void of creativity, void of finishing ability, void of crossing, void of taking on a man. Honestly, I haven't seen a worse front three at Spurs. I think they're a joke. I don't rate them at all.
What about the goals they scored? They scored a lot of goals still, right? Last season, I don't know how high in the goal scorers list we were, but we did score quite a lot of goals.
The system, and Ange deserves a bit of credit for this. The system is where a lot of our goals come from, but also a lot of our goals were lopsided. So I'll give an example. 70% of our goals came from 30% of games. So when we won, it was 4, 5, 6, 4, 3, 5. When we weren't doing that, we were losing or not scoring. Losing. So they performed in big blitz, and then it's like a blender. You turn it on, then you let go for 2 minutes. And those 2 minutes are like 8 games. You put it back on again.
It's patchy, and a lot of the goals we scored were sweaty as well, weren't they? Basically, like the sort of thing you score on FIFA, leg it down the wing, put it across, and there's always someone to tap it in at the back. It's sweaty goals. That's what they was called, wasn't it? You'd always have that little prick who scored that sweaty goal against you in the last second or whatever, that mate of yours that you'd punch him up the head.
Yeah.
I think with our team, it depends again on what tactics we use. If we change this formation to a 3-4-1-2 or 3-4-2-1...
No, Dan, the front three are shit, bro. The front three are shit.
That is why I just said I don't use a front three.
Frank rates them.
What I said.
Frank rates them. He said it in his interview.
The front two, front one, they're shit. They don't deserve to be at this club.
I'm not debating that. What I'm saying is if we stick with the formation we're using, I think we need at least 5 or 6 players in that. If we change our formation to a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-1-2, I think 3 players can take us up significantly, but we still ain't touching that top 4.
No, we ain't getting near the top 4.
Guys,
not anytime soon.
No, I agree.
Are devoid, I told you, of scoring, creating, crossing. They are devoid. Then behind it, take Maddison out. We can't create a sausage. We can't create anything without Maddison. We literally...
Like side, backwards, bloody... Does your head in.
Unless Porro or Spence get up there and get some kind of assist in there, we got nothing. So,
so what's Frank going to do then, guys? Frank has obviously got this forward line. What's he going to do?
He ain't going to do a damn thing.
Well, he might score about the same amount of goals because he's
how's he going to approach it, guys? That is in a tactical point of view. How's Frank going to approach it? Because he's not going to be like Ange. He's not going to invert the fullbacks.
He needs better players in the front three. Any manager, even Pep can't work with this shit. The front three they're not good enough.
Okay, we know that, yeah. But my personal opinion on this, like what I kept saying Ange should have done, is where Frank can also be a pragmatic manager when needed. He also knows how to use a bloody defence. He also knows that there is such a thing called defenders in football, unlike Ange did. I think Frank has got the capability, with the squad we've already got, of conceding 15 less goals. And that would straight away be at least another 15 points. And then obviously we've got to sort out our major problems at the front, this and that and everything else. Because how many games did we lose because of the same bloody goal over and over again where you had 2 inverted wing backs or one of them or 2 sitting on the halfway line? I kept saying, if Ange would sort out that defence, that's 25-30% of problems solved at Spurs. It's the tactics that screwed us last year more than anything. I think Frank will sort out that defence and we concede 15 less goals, you'll see us further up the table. If you want to see us actually make a major difference in it, then we need at least three good players in there.
Well,
but we ain't getting
top 4. 1 minute, Dan. Right. So the question is, right, how close are we to competing with the top teams? I don't think changing tactics makes us compete with those top teams. I don't think
Not
it
the
does.
top four. I agree. Not the top four. As all I was saying was,
All right,
if we
cool.
sort out that defence and concede 15 less
It
goals,
pushes
which I think
us up the
okay,
league table.
it pushes
Yeah, I agree
us
with
up.
that. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
To go and challenge that top four, it ain't happening. If Frank goes and does, I said this on Sava's show before, if Frank goes and does that and gets in this top four,
top six, Dan, even top six. Villa, Newcastle.
I'm going to say, well, if he even goes and gets it in, let's say, the top 5 in the Champions League place, yeah? Because it looks like fifth is a Champions League place now. If he goes and pulls that off with how far ahead the teams are now, then he's done a bigger miracle job than what Conte done with that dog shit team.
Well, I disagree. Frank can get top 6 with this team as long as he mugs off all the cups. Ange got 5th. He mugged off the cups. We weren't in Europe. He crashed out of the FA Cup and Carabao in the first round. If Frank just focuses on the league, he'll get top 6. I fully believe that. He'll do it.
But with the
he's
players,
not. But he's not going to focus just on the league. He's going to
the bigger teams buying the players they are still. They're getting light years ahead of us now. Not just loads of years. They're light years ahead of us now.
Yeah, but they've got to navigate. They've got to navigate all the cup competitions
what
as well.
They are now, were they? I mean, what he done getting us in that top 4 was brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but Arsenal are significantly better now than they were then. Chelsea are now coming up the ranks again. Villa, I think they're going to slip. Newcastle, if they make a good buy, can do it. And obviously, City and Liverpool go without saying.
You know where Arsenal is significantly better than us in defence? Because they only conceded 34 goals to our 65.
Exactly.
And they scored 69 to our 64. So their attack, all right, they have got better players in attack, but they don't prove it through the league because they only scored 5 more goals than us.
Yeah.
34 to 65, that's a big difference.
But that's guys, that old saying, Ellie, of defense. Yeah. You need a striker, you need to score goals and everything else, but defenders win you leagues.
They had the best defence in the league, Arsenal, 34 goals. Even Liverpool conceded 41,
guys,
but they scored 86. Liverpool scored 86
the issue is trying to compete on multiple fronts is the issue, right? Look at Newcastle. When they got Champions League football, they fell apart in the league the following season. Yeah. So this is what fans just there is this denial in our fan base, and it makes me sick because they just ignore what goes on at times with trying to challenge in multiple competitions.
There's levels of falling apart still. Levels of falling apart.
No, I'm not talking about falling apart, Dan. What I'm saying is to compete, right? Just the word compete. To compete on multiple fronts, it can't be done at Spurs with this ownership. So to challenge with the top clubs, we can do it in the league. If he just focuses on the league, we can get top 6. I know we can. If he just focuses on that. But he'll be under pressure from the fan base. He can't just dismiss the cups. He can't just crash out the Champions League when Levy's charging £80 a ticket on a match day because the boos will start quickly. He's going to have to give it a go. And this is where we come unstuck in the league because now rotate, change, adapt. It's difficult on multiple fronts. So unless we sign some top players or good, whatever word you want to use, unless we sign those players to improve the front three, to give Maddison a break in that role, and we need someone that can control a game of football. Nobody in this team can control the tempo of a game. Like nobody. Speed, slow it down, keep the ball. Until we get these kinds of players, we ain't competing with nobody. Unless you just focus on the league. Just ignore everything else and just put all your eggs into the league.
On another point to what you're saying, though, I think another major issue we had last season, apart from the defence cost us so much, it was our major problem. I also think the rotation. The fact that his rotation was absolutely shocking for the first half of the season. He didn't even rotate until he had to. And then when he did bring, say, Spence in, who was our best player for 2 or 3 months, okay, had 1 or 2 not so great games, but then dropped him the second Udogie got fit again, was another major problem. If we actually do better on the rotation as well, I think that can have a significant difference. But I'm not saying it's going to win things.
Yeah, but I'm talking about competing with the top teams.
No, I get where you're coming from.
So if we bring in three quality players into this side, right? 3 first teamers challenge the first team. Where does that take us?
I personally don't
Right
think
where we
that's
are now.
enough. I
Look at
don't think that's
it's
enough.
like, no, I agree. Look at Liverpool already. They've already strengthened. Arsenal have strengthened. Chelsea have strengthened. Man City have strengthened. So we need to at least sign 2 or 3 just to be where we were to start with. I think we are so far off it. I think if we sign 2 or 3, we could challenge for a top 6. But they need to be walking straight into the first team.
He's
Can't
not
be
going to
down
get
with
all
any
of
more
what he
kids.
wants in this window, is it? It's going to
course
take,
it's not.
you know, three
No, of
three
course not,
windows
no.
to start building his team, who he wants.
Well,
Yeah.
one advantage that Frank does have, he hasn't got to make these players at this moment in time and next season. He hasn't necessarily got to make them better player than what they are. What he's got to do is get them back to standards. Because Ange dragged every single player, bar maybe 2 of them, where Johnson scored more and Bergvall improved. He regressed every single player in that team. So Frank's got to get them back to standards before he looks at getting them better, if you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I don't think he regressed them, Dan. What I think he did,
Oh,
he gave them.
lay off, Ellie.
No, I don't think he regressed them. Hear me out, right? I think
Okay, go on.
because of these tactics, right, and them having to transition the ball really well, not to lose it, and then losing the ball, and then we concede the same goals over the top, over Porro's head, blah blah, crossing, goal, right? That is not regressing the players. That's giving them a role that they're not used to, and putting them in square pegs, right? He should
Which
have.
regressed them. I think we're looking at
I don't
regressed on
think
a
it's not
different
regressed
thing
them as
here.
footballers. It's regressed them as tactically as
Right,
footballers.
I get where you're coming
They've still
from.
got the same skill.
But one way or another, none of those players, bar 2 of them, played up to their standards. So
Dan?
they regressed.
Yeah.
But
Half
as
of
an
these
actual
players-
player,
Yeah.
go on.
Half of these players didn't have standards.
They had better standards than that.
No, they
Better
didn't.
standards than
Solanke's
that.
never been good. Richarlison's never been good. Tell is an unknown. Odebert got relegated with Burnley. He didn't do anything. Johnson, well, we could say Johnson scored more goals than he's done before. So, the players I would look at say, hold on, they're better than what I'm seeing, would be Udogie, Van de Ven, Romero. I think those 3 are better than what we've seen. I'd say those players regressed. I do agree they regressed, but I put it down to the tactic because it just killed them. But nonetheless,
That's what I mean. It regressed.
I can agree with that. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. Angie's set up regressed them. Angie's set up regressed them. But in terms of the midfield, I've never rated Pape Sarr. Basuma hasn't been good from the day he came here. In fact, Basuma has been the biggest letdown under every manager so far. I was so excited when we signed him. He was poor under everyone. Madison is difficult to say because he's actually our best performer, but he's also injured all the time. Was Kulu ever good? I don't know. He divides fans.
Kulu's a patchy player at the end of the day. When we finally started playing him in the right position, he looked significantly better, but then all of a sudden he was either burnt out or just patchy or whatever else. But I think, it depends on how you use the word.
Dan, do you know what I would say? Right? I don't think Ange regressed these players. I don't. I think most of them weren't good enough. What I would say, though, I don't think he improved enough players. He simply didn't improve players. I expect Udogie to be better than what I'm seeing. I expect Van de Ven and Romero to be better than what I'm seeing. I don't expect Vicario to be playing it out from the back every week when it doesn't work for him.
It's because they were how they were told to play, innit?
Yes, exactly. So I'm blaming Ange. This is. I don't think he regressed players. I just don't think he failed to improve them. A lot of them failed to improve.
I can meet you halfway on that. I can go with what you're saying, same as I get what you're saying, Ellie. You're basically saying he didn't actually regress them as players and make them worse players. He just made them play worse because his system was so shit.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't improve them. He didn't improve
them.
Well, he made them play worse with his style of football.
The team played worse. Yes, I agree. The team played worse. But
so he didn't actually regress them as players. He
The thing
just
is,
regressed
Dan,
them with
I didn't
tactics.
but I didn't expect anything from Richarlison or Solanke or Tell
No.
or Odebert or
Yeah,
Timo
certain ones
Even
like that
Johnson,
you can
you
go
didn't
or
with.
really
Pepe
expect that
Sarr. I
much.
didn't expect anything from those players because to
Yeah.
me, I still don't know to this day why we signed any of them. I don't understand why any of these players are at
What a
Spurs.
waste of money.
Well, the one I'm interested in, I mean, Sava brought it up, I think, about 6 or 7 months ago. I think he was the first one who actually brought it up when everyone goes on about how quality Van der Ven is. Van der Ven definitely got played to one of his advantages playing under Ange's tactics because he's a freak. The way he runs, he should be, I repeat it, he should be in the Avengers. It was definitely a point that made him stood out, and we needed him that desperately for what he'd done. But I must admit, I'm interested to see him as a flatline 2 or a flatline 3 at the back, consistently over 10, 15 games to see how good he's there. Because he's shockingly poor in the air.
Well, that's how he played in the cup final, and he done pretty well.
Yeah.
Can't do it, but I'm interested in doing it over a consistent amount of games, over 10 games, 15 games, not just one game.
I'll say it as it is, guys.
Against top opposition as well.
I'll say it as it is. Our defence will not improve without playing a proper 6. Unless that defence has got protection, they're going to get pulled apart. They're going to get pulled out of position. They're going to get
Unless
exposed.
they go 3 at the back.
You still need a 6 in front. You still need someone to protect it. Because on the transitions, that's when you get pulled out of position. The only time it worked is when Pochettino, he used to have a 3, but then what would happen is Dyer would go into the 6 and the other 2 would squeeze, and you have almost a triangle at the back. That can work, but he didn't push both fullbacks up, which meant if a counter-attack came on the flank and the 6 went across, the 2 centre-backs shuffle, and then the wing-back then goes into the centre-back. So there was almost like a U-shaped move, an L-shaped movement. So it can work, but then one of the fullbacks has to hold. Otherwise, you have to have the 6. Ange did neither. Which is why every time a team attacked us, we looked so fucking wide open. Every week, every show we did, we would say we're wide open, right?
Do you know what our big
The
problem is?
same will happen with Frank if he doesn't have. There has to be some. Every defense needs a protector, whether it's the wing back, whether it's one of the centre backs who pushes forward and steps, whether it's a 6. Forget what I said about number 6. If we don't play with the protector, let's call it that. If we don't play with the protector, the defense will come unstuck again. Maybe not as horrendous.
You need basically, because you've got 2 types of box to box. You've got the box to box which comes back a little bit but presses forward, and then you've got the box to box that stays forward a little bit but comes back as more of a DM, which we tried doing with Basuma when he just is blatantly not a defensive player in any manner, and most of his mistakes were defensive. So basically, if we don't play with a DM, you're saying we need that box to box to be more of a defensive box to box than a press forward.
So who is that player then? Who is that player, guys? Who is that?
Archie Gray.
Yeah.
Archie Gray.
Do you know what? Another thing, lads.
Edison.
Do you know what we're not good at is
Ben
retaining
Davies.
the ball. We're not a very good team at retaining the ball, right? Because I hear people say that Solanke's good at retaining the ball. No, he ain't.
No, he ain't.
He's not. Nor is Kulu. He loses the ball a lot. I think he lost the most out of all midfielders in the
Kulu
league.
doesn't know when to release the ball. He holds on to it too long.
Yeah, we've got
That
this problem. We've got players in our team that can't retain the ball, and their passing is not on point. So Frank's got a lot of work to do with the original players.
You know,
So we talked about the forward line. We need a whole new forward line, right? Now we're in the midfield. It sounds like we need at least 2 then.
Yeah,
I'd say one we significantly need. I'd rather have 2. I'd rather have 2, but 1 is what we specifically need. And that is one who can defend and who can just run it. But do you know who I'd love to see there? Very common player. What's his name? Villa captain.
McGinn.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a brilliant player for what we need there. But again, it's another one that a lot of Spurs fans are saying he's not good enough.
He's like a modern day Steve Perriman and Graham Roberts mixed into one player. Because he's tough.
I mean, Paulinia, another one I think could do it well there, and there's others out there. Because as a DM, playing on. You don't need an out and out skillful player there, really, do you?
You
It
need a
hasn't
player
got-
that
it's
wins the ball and gives it.
Yes, it isn't the
gives it
most
accurately.
skillful position to play.
Like Højbjerg.
Me and Ellie said we didn't want him gone.
Yeah,
I personally, if I had the choice, I'd get rid of the entire midfield. I wouldn't keep any of them, including Maddison. He's too injury prone. He's too injury prone.
The whole midfield still, but it's not going to happen, is it? So
I think we need a proper six. We don't have a proper six at the club that can play the role consistently, like Paulinho, what Dan said. I think we need someone that puts their foot on the ball and controls the game, speeds it up, slows it down, knows when to pull players in, knows when to expand the game.
Who is
someone
who is that player?
We don't have anyone. We don't have anyone at the club that can do it.
No.
We used to have Moussa Dembele. We had Moussa Dembele, right? We don't have that player. And then in the attacking, in the 10, I'd keep Maddison. But if he's going to be injured, we need someone else. So either develop Bergvall or bring in a proper 10. So for me, I would literally replace the entire midfield if I could. Obviously, we can't. We can't. I would. I don't think the midfield is good enough.
I do.
It's the engine of the team. It's what makes a team click, the midfield. And we haven't got a midfield player, apart from Maddison, who can put their foot on the ball and actually control. He is injury prone, so we need somebody to come in if he's injured.
And
we've got to have somebody who's creative as well.
That is why Eze would be a brilliant player, because he can play centre mid and he can play attacking mid, and he has got playmaker in him as well.
I know. But forget
so we're basically saying this midfield have got no, they've got no strengths. No, this current midfield that we got.
Bar Maddison and
none of them have got anything to offer.
Yeah.
No.
Bergvall looks like he can improve.
Like Roy Keane said, Maddison is a fantastic footballer, but he's not consistent. He called him out. Right, he's not consistent enough.
Bentancur is a good player, right? He's a good player. But when we play the top 6, 7, he can't boss that midfield. He gets found out. There's a limit to him. Whereas Dembele, when we played the big 6, he fucking took it to them. He showed them who the governor is.
You couldn't get the ball off him when he had it.
We need someone that can run that midfield for us. Someone that just doesn't lose the ball, speeds it up, slows it down. Basically controls the game. We don't have that.
Knows when to pass it, knows when to hold on to it. And again, Locatelli would be a very good man for that, in my opinion. And there is players out there that can do that.
But then, even when we're on the ropes and we're shaky, he gets his foot on the ball, he slows it down, and he calms everyone down. Says, "Hey, relax, just chill for 5 minutes," and he dictates it. And then once they've relaxed, right, let's go. We don't have anyone in the team that can do that. Not a single player
with a good direct ball, basically.
Yeah,
we need like a Tonali. I love Tonali at Newcastle. He's brilliant.
I love Tonali. Exactly, Ellie. Exactly, someone like that.
Exactly like
someone like Tonali. Yeah.
No frills, no spills, just gets his job done.
When he left AC Milan, they was absolutely gutted. And how Newcastle got him, considering how worldwide known he was and everything as well, I must admit I was very shocked, because he was one of the most known wanted young players on the planet at the time.
Yeah.
So guys, let's rein it back a bit.
Dan, you look at Declan Rice, okay? People say he's a good defensive mid. Watch Declan Rice play football. He's best when Partey's in the 6 and Rice goes into the 8.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Rice can control a game of football. He's better as an 8. Someone like that would be.
When he charges forward, he's really
good.
Played really well.
Top player. So, Declan Rice is a top player.
Guys, so going back to the question, we need a whole forward line. We need at least 2 in the middle. And what about the back? Defense.
I'm okay with the defense. I'm quite happy with it.
Back, I think we need a left back.
Maybe cover at fullback.
Udogi's better than what we're seeing, guys. I know Udogi's better than that. He was good at Udinese.
Brilliant.
He's a player that can benefit from someone that can work with him one-on-one. So this is someone I'm looking at the manager now. Right, Udogi, I expect you to earn your money here, Frank.
I agree. I agree on that one totally. And then it comes down to the formation again. If we go and play a 3 at the back and say Romero stays, again, people know I don't rate Romero as highly as others. He's too inconsistent for me, yeah? But if we do keep him, Van der Ven on the left, Romero on the right, and then you go stick someone like Dragusin and Danzo in the middle. Both dominant in the air, both also no-nonsense centre-back. No ball-playing defender, whatever, no-nonsense centre-backs. Then you got the option what you do. Wing-back, Adoji and Porro, both overlap. Or you can use them as a left midfielder and a right midfielder if you don't want to necessarily play 5 at the back and play a 4 in the middle. Play them two as overlapping midfielders or wing-backs, you will see a significantly better player. But then that is where we need the boss in the middle who can control it, basically, and also take it from there. We might not even need out-and-out wingers. It all depends on
Don't you think we need another left-back, though? Because we haven't got anything else other than a doggy. We need
Spence.
some...
For me, this is why I'd be happy
maybe.
if we go and sign. I know we're not getting it now, but if we were to go out and sign an Eze, go out and sign a Semenyo, go out and sign a monster number 6, I wouldn't have an issue of bringing in Kyle Walker-Peters because he can cover at left back and he can cover at right back.
Yeah,
I agree.
He's not going to be your first choice, but
no,
just don't bring him in next
play the cup
because then there
games.
will be a meltdown.
No, I agree with that. I mean, Spence can cover left and right, innit? Spence can cover left and right as well.
Yeah.
I can't handle Kyle Walker-Peters coming to Spurs, Nige. I just feel like
but it's for the what's it called, the homegrown whatever it's called. You have to have
trained or whatever.
I get what you're saying. It makes what you're saying makes sense.
It does.
It just feels like another underwhelming player that we're putting into the squad. It's just
he's always sign some good players first.
Yeah, as long as you see by the end of it 2 or 3 first team solid players go in there, you can accept a Kyle Walker-Peters because he can play in a game against, say, someone in the Championship or whatever, in a cup game, whatever. Or you can use him if you really have to as a left back or a right back, and then you've also got Spence covering left and right as well.
Yeah.
If you want to play more defensive, then Spence comes on the pitch over Adogi and Porro all day long.
I'd rather we don't buy any defenders, don't sign any goalie, just keep them as they are and fix that front 3 in midfield. Just fix it.
Yeah.
I believe the defense is the last thing we need to buy players for at the moment. Unless we lose Romero, then we need to buy a proper centre back. If Romero goes, as much as Danzo did okay and Dragusin's got potential, we need a proper centre half. One that's like Mark Guay, who looks like he's going to Liverpool now.
Who would you start in goal? Kingsley or Vicario?
Vicario
at the moment, yeah.
I'm like in two minds about it because I like Vicario, but he's not strong in the air, and we conceded so many set-piece goals last season, and Kingsley seems to control his area a lot better, and he's a good shot stopper as well. But he's still young. I think he's going to be probably second fiddle to Vicario still. But I don't know. I'd rather sign a new goalie altogether, to tell you the truth, because I don't trust Vicario.
Guys, we got a super chat. Sorry, Ellie. If we could just read this out. Sava, cheers, buddy. This is what Sava says. Frank will improve the defence and midfield immediately. He will drop both lines 10 yards and have 2 8s in a pivot that solidifies the midfield. If we don't sign a mid, he will play Bergvall and Bentancur. Guys, what's your thoughts on that?
Is he going to improve their passing? He has to work on their passing then, because their passing is not on point.
Who, Bergvall and Bentancur?
Yeah,
but you'd hope that because we're not. But is that not to do with a lot of the chaos that was under Ange? Surely, under a better coach, the passing will improve. You'd hope.
Well, how did you? Our ball retention in that Europa League final wasn't great, was it? Do you remember the ball retention? It wasn't.
No, it was really bad.
It was really bad.
We put ourselves under a lot of pressure because of it, and that's a growing theme. The way we were playing, we were losing the ball a lot in transition.
So if he drops us deeper, then how do we score goals? Because we don't have the creativity without Maddison. We have in the front three are no good.
The same way that we played better under Ange when I don't even think he intended to do it, whereas at the time I did, by not playing the inverted wing backs. And when it came pressured on us, we played much, much better as a direct, fast counter-attacking team. Every game we actually looked solid in, we didn't play two inverted wing backs and we was pushed further backwards. Get the ball, direct, up there. And that is what I think we've got.
But we struggled to transition, Dan. Other than Man City, we struggled to transition. We don't have the quality for those transitions. We simply don't have those players.
We need better footballers. We don't need to just drop down 10 yards. We need better footballers in the midfield.
But I think dropping down 10 yards can help.
Transition the ball better.
Yeah. No, I just said, like, if we drop deeper, then how do we? Where do the goals come from? Where are we creating from? Because the way Ange did it was he pushed up high, squeezed the game, and suffocated teams. And when it worked, it worked. We had the odd transitional goal we scored, but in general, the issue with that system was it was so wide open. He didn't protect the back line that teams just kept picking us off left, right, and centre. So if we do drop back, I don't disagree with that. I think dropping back's a good thing. But then the issue is, then where does the transition? Where are we attacking from?
So look, let's match up to how Brentford played, right, under Frank, right? How they played, guys. If you can all remember, if you've seen the videos, whatever, yeah. They had a way of playing. They had Norgard. They had three in the middle, didn't they? Norgard. It changed. Who was the other guy? Norgard. What's the other young guy called? Damsgaard, and there was one other. I think they changed it around a couple of times. So when we look at our midfield compared to Brentford's midfield, have we got anybody like Damsgaard? The thing with Damsgaard, he works hard. He's not just good on the ball. He's got a lot of running in him. Maddison hasn't got that, has he? So who's that Damsgaard for us? People talk about Kulusevski, but I just don't think so.
Damsgaard plays wide, doesn't he? Doesn't he play wide?
On the formation, he kind of tends. If you look at the heat maps of him, he does kind of go off to the left.
Yeah,
but
that's what he does for his country as well. Yeah. We don't have anyone wide that does that.
So the nearest is Maddison without the work rate, I guess.
Well, Maddison's a 10 though.
I mean, who would you compare him to? Damsgaard, more like a what? An Odegaard or I don't know, Ericsson. I don't know, maybe.
I mean, the problem is up front is the main problem, but I like pragmatic counter-attacking direct football. That is why I love Italian football. It's each their own. You get that ball at the back, you can get the ball up the other end of the pitch in 3 passes. 3 direct balls. And that is what we did with City, that's what we did with Villa, and that's what we did with a couple of other games when we actually looked good. Every time we looked good, we ended up getting the ball from deep and 3 direct balls forward, 1, 2, 3 up the other end, and we had a good chance. The thing that will definitely hold us back there is a striker. We will need an out-and-out striker.
Yeah,
but every time we played good, we didn't play inverted and we played direct counter-attack football. And that is when we actually looked good as a team.
Yeah, because that Man City game, Dragusin played it to Kulusevski. Kulusevski done his little bit of skill, crossed it in, and we scored. 3 passes.
That's what I mean. When you can get it up the other end of the ball that quick, the other end of the pitch that quick with 3 direct balls.
What we did wrong a lot is we tried to transition the ball too slowly as well. You know,
yes.
You know what I mean? We're too slow and deliberate. Easy to read. Side, back. Because Johnson weren't taking his man on. Tell and Werner took his man on, but his crosses were shit. Tell doesn't take his man on. Odegaard does, but he's raw. Johnson doesn't. So it was breaking up and it was coming back.
Basically let the ball do more of the running than the players.
Yes.
Because we haven't got players that can really run with the ball either, have we? I mean, who have we got that is actually solid at dribbling that ball?
Listen,
Only
Frank,
Madison, really.
Frank's a good coach, right? His system has got flaws. We played them 4 times. Ange beat him 3 times and drew once. And this is when we were shit. So Frank's got facts. Facts, Danny. This Frank guy couldn't beat Ange, the guy we sacked and we slagged off, right? So
But he also
Frank's,
beat bigger teams that we didn't.
sure, but he couldn't adapt against us, could he? And he's an adaptable coach, I've been told. So he's a good coach, don't get me wrong. And I know what he's going to do, but there's flaws in this system.
Yeah.
It is susceptible to teams that counter. It is. That's how we scored. Also,
Yeah, it's true.
he's got certain caliber of players that make it work. Damsgaard's a top player. Wisa and Buemo, good players. Who's that guy they've got at the wing back?
Rico Henry?
I think he's been signed. No. Sorry. I'm thinking of a different team. He had one player in that back line.
I'll show you. I've got some information about them. I think I'll bring it up in a minute. But first of all, guys, I just want to say thanks to Sava for the super chats, mate. Thank you so much.
Nice
And
one.
just read this one out, and then we'll get back to it. The width comes from the fullbacks, and he allows the playmaker to get on the ball and link play. Please watch his masterclass videos.
Yeah, but where was this masterclass against Ange and Spurs? Where was it?
They went 2-0 up against us first season, and we won 3-2. The one at home we won 3-1. Then we drew, and then we drew early doors, didn't we? 2-2 last season. No, not last season, season before. And then at their ground, we beat them 2-0. But they actually battered us in that game. If you remember, they actually battered us. It's just that Visser and Bomo had a bad day that day, and they couldn't finish, especially Visser.
Stel, was the player in there? If you look at that team or on the bench, you were talking about,
Potter, isn't it?
I think you're right. I think it's Potter. Yeah, it's Potter. No, you're right. Yeah, I just feel that if you're going to play this system, like any manager, any system, you need the players for it. I don't know if we've got those players for this. I think for the back 3 we do. For the back 3 we've got that. In terms of the fullbacks, if he pushes them forward, then he's got 2 in the 8. Does one hold and one push? Because who are the 2 in the 8 you're going to play at Spurs? Bentancur, you say, is 1. Who's the other?
Bergvall.
Bissouma. We've tried that. We tried that with Ange. It doesn't work. Conte tried that. It didn't work.
Right now, you think Bergvall, but hopefully we're going to sign some players.
I think for that way to work, you've got to fix the front 3. Our front 3 are nowhere near the level. And Frank isn't going to coach Richarlison and Solanke and Odeberts and Tells to all become good players. I don't buy that. I don't buy that for 1 second. Maybe he can turn one, but not all of them.
It's like you can't polish a churn.
I think he'll get more joy out of the wing backs, though. I do think he'll get more joy out of the fullbacks. That I think is fair.
Yeah, I don't think any of our front players are good enough, if I'm honest. You know, all 6 of them, 7 of them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what Frank does, who he brings in. Because we definitely need improvement out there.
Looks like Arsenal getting Gyökeres as well.
Oh, stop it.
So
Are they signing Gyökeres?
it just flashed up. They've agreed terms with him.
That's a good
I know
player.
it doesn't mean they got him, but
That's a good player if they get him.
Pretty much.
Well,
That's a striker.
Oh, well.
we should go. Why don't we go?
They
for
need that
Sesko?
striker.
Why
That is
don't we
what
go
they
for
need.
the player they wanted to get, Sesko? Then go for him and get Visser as well. That would be a very big improvement.
I think Arsenal now in that win the league or Champions League or Arteta's gone.
Win the league.
He has to win the Champions League or the Premier League or he's gone. This is Arteta's last chance now. This really is it.
Especially with their new sporting director, he's ruthless.
He's good as well.
Yeah, he doesn't take no shit.
He's good.
Listen, it is
was
make
what-
or breaking it for them basically now with Arteta. You would think,
And I don't think he's going to win either.
and he's needed that striker for 3 seasons now.
He'll get
Do
close.
they win it
Solid
though,
striker.
with that striker, guys? If they do sign Gorkrez, can they win that league? They must,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, they can.
That's
Yeah.
what has held them back for about 3
Depends on
seasons.
Man
A
City and
striker.
Liverpool, really. What sort of league? No, I think Liverpool still win the league.
Mate, Arsenal. Listen, Arteta will find a way to bottle it. He'll find a way. He'll 10 minutes to go, last game of the season. Something stupid will happen. He'll bottle it.
Bottle.
I mean, it was like where they
bottles.
It was like when they screwed it up against City. If they would have had
Yes.
a decent striker, they would have won that league, in my opinion. The striker, not having that striker, definitely let them down that season. Yeah, they bottled it as well, but I think a lot of it did come down to they haven't had a proper striker for what, 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah.
Like an out-and-out quality striker. Because Jesus ain't no quality striker, for God's sake. Havertz definitely ain't a quality striker.
No.
They haven't had one since they got rid of what's his name from Dortmund? Aubameyang. Since Aubameyang, when have they actually had a solid out-and-out striker, quality striker? I don't think they have they?
And they still didn't win the league with him.
Depressing stuff, isn't it?
Or maybe
I
they-
think by Christmas we'll kind of see what Frank's trying to do. We'll kind of see where he wants to take it.
When was the last time Arsenal won the league? Was it 2004?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 21 years.
The thing is, we've made them angry now. Winning that Europa Cup has really rattled that lot. It's proper rattled, I'm telling you.
I know.
It's
When
their own
you watch
fault.
Arsenal
It's their own
fan
fault.
TV, especially. I love watching Arsenal fan TV when we've won a trophy and they haven't won one. They got the meltdown.
So once every 20 years, yeah?
Yeah. We'll see you get into. I'll be 81 then. Bloody hell. No, 82, sorry. Fucking hell. Or I'll be dead.
Mate, the way this club's going, we're all going to be fucking dead.
You know what I mean?
Don't worry about it. We'll all be there.
Oh, look, by the time we win a league, if we do win a league, if we ain't all passed away, you're going to be sitting there with such a case of dementia that you forget about it 6 seconds later anyway, because you will be just that old and knackered. It ain't looking good when it comes to winning the league.
I know. Still, you've actually got Tell's name in your name. You should change your name.
I'm fuck that. I'm getting rechristened. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it in my Get it
All
out.
right, guys, we're going to wrap up. Any final thoughts of the night, and then we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Been a great show.
That's nice.
Cheers, Dan. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Very much
Nigel.
on that.
Very much.
Cheers, Nigel.
Cheers,
Brilliant,
Nige.
brilliant
Cheers,
show.
Ellie. Cheers, Stel. Dan, please, guys,
Cheers.
subscribe to their channels. That'd be fantastic. Big up to everybody who's watched tonight and got involved with your comments. Please smash the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
Take care.
Spurs.
Good night, everyone.